thank you for the 17. Simaru, thank you for the 50 months. Enrique, what's up? Welcome to the chat. Savvy Zilla, thank you for the prime. What's good? What's All right, let me get to the switch to the thing. Oh no, my hair. What's up? Welcome on August 30th. We have what? Literally one more day of August. And then 4 more days till Silk Song. We're fucking there. We're so fucking close. It's crazy. It's unreal. It's I can't believe it's happening. It feels shocking to me. He really thinks it's coming out. Doesn't it feel like the copium guys are now becoming... No, they're not coping themselves. Doesn't it feel like the copium guys are coping? They're like coping that it's still cope. It's happening. They found comfort in the cope. Yeah, they liked the world where Silk Song never came out. It was something they could rely upon. They could always rely upon being able to say copium, it's never coming out. But now it actually is coming out. This truly is the 4th turning of Silk Song fan. I don't know. What does that really mean? Squilliam, thank you for the 20 months. God Almighty will stop it from coming out like a Republican parent. What does that mean? Like coming out as gay? I don't think the Lord, if he's real, and he is a he. I don't think the great Lord with his balls and shaft penis is worried about Silk Song. Okay, I don't think it's on his radar. Atrioc, I'm a banker, and let me tell you, the number of scams on the elderly is on the rise. Besides, the scams of the elderly are all they can be. The only people that can still get scammed. They're the people with money. If you're a scammer, you can't scam young people. What do they have to steal? It's the juiciest target. You have to scam old people. You have to figure out a fucking... Atrioc, I'm a scammer, and let me tell you, these old people are dumb as fuck. I don't know. Sometimes they're just grandmas, okay? And they're not hip with it. They don't think everyone out there's out to get them. I feel sad that a grandma fed 10K into a Bitcoin machine. Dude, some of the scams are crazy. I mean, the scams where they find like their granddaughter's voice off of Instagram, then AI clone it, then call them and say, we have your granddaughter, she's locked up. So, you know what, like, there's a lot of crazy shit they can do to scam old people. Atrioc, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm elderly, 21, and I'm dumb as fuck. Okay, but you don't have anything to steal yet, I think, so you're okay. I wouldn't worry too much. You are old as shit. Don't get me wrong, you're old as shit. Wait, you were born in 2004? Fuck, you're old. You remember the Nintendo DS? Oh my god, you're old as shit, dude. Yeah, get your fucking hip check, Grandpa. Did they have dinosaurs in 2004? Would you listen to Elvis growing up? Bro remembers Cash for Clunkers. What is Cash for Clunkers? Why does that sound familiar? Cash for Clunkers. Cash for Clunkers. Why does that sound so familiar? Oh, it was a federal program designed to provide economic incentives to U.S. residents to buy... it was to make you buy more fuel-efficient vehicles. So they just buy your old shitty car from you. They did it This seems like a a stealth way to try and pump stimulus into the economy during the 2009 recession. That's what this looks like. If I'm looking at it right now, this looks like a stealth way to just... Oh, you have to get the chat back. It looks like a stimmy, bro. That's funny. Hey, Atrioc! I'm going to make a militia targeting robots and call it Cash for Clankers. Dude, imagine that. You put out a bounty. Every Tesla Optimus skull you bring back, we give you cash. That could be something. Hey, Big A, I missed the beginning of the stream. Can you start over? No, I can only ban you. That's the only option. If you're late, you've already missed too much. You can't even seamlessly integrate. Everyone who's been here from the beginning already knows the inside jokes of today. Like later on, when I make a Cash for Clankers joke, you're not going to get it. You're going to be like, what? Could someone explain? But like the real ones already know that shit. They're locked in. Safro Inc. Thank you for the 40 months. Just take me out back and have the Clanker spam Twitter, then I'm dead. Well, you know, the Clanker's not killing you. I guess that could happen too. More realistically, the Clankers would kill you for money. Clanker's hunting humans. Cash for... What's a C word for humans? That's not cracker. Cash for chatters, I guess. Einstein said time was relative, so maybe I'm not late, you're just early. Cash for cuties? Cash for flesh. That just you didn't hit the theme at all. Dnod, how the fuck do you say your name? Get a better username. Yeah, and also your message is SDDS. Dnod Nibyoksk. This is unpronounceable. How can I thank you for your sub if this is your username? And you're not even... Let me check your chat history. Do you ever speak normal? Oh, I guess you normally just... You're normally a Poggies kind of guy. Why did you suddenly lose the ability to speak? Why did you go from a Poggies Giga Chad kind of guy to a cat on keyboard? Don't sound it out for me like I'm the one being stupid. D-Nod Key Bajok. What is Bajoks? Bajdoks. That's not a thing. That's not a... You're splitting it up, but you're not making it more pronounceable. Walroot, they have the 26 months. You're saying it right. All right, fuck it. We're fine, I guess. We're fine. W, I guess. W. How's everybody doing? How is your weekend going? I'm trying to think what I have done today. I'll tell you what happened. I didn't get I've been working on good sleep, and I've been pretty good all week. And then last night I got terrible sleep because this fucking guy I know named Chris
bounce out,
wakes me up. Literally, Discord fucking pings me at midnight and says, dude, Faker's playing right now. He just made the play of the year. And he links me this clip that's happening live.
Here. Owner goes aggressive with Carry, who just
Here's
gets
Faker
thrown
right
up,
here.
but a lot of tools have been used by Gen G. And then when Ruler dies
So
forward,
this is really close
he's
fight.
taking Arakan. Guma just blows him up as well. Great play from him.
And
Puts
then
some
Faker
poke back on
runs
Girl.
away and then
Faker
teleports right back in the
disengages
middle.
And then makes the call to TP back in. Yeah, and
Chovy was almost dead.
Which is
to
pretty
Arakan.
incredible.
Rushes to kill him. And the thing is,
All right, so it's a really cool play. And I'm like, damn, that's really awesome. I better watch the rest of this series live. Now I'm hooked. Now I have to see Faker go crazy. And then I start watching, and every minute after that, T1 just gets their fucking shit stomped. Just gets stomped. Like, they won game 1, they lost game 2 and 3. Bad. Bad. I watched the whole thing. By the way, in the middle of game 2, fucking Chris goes to bed. Like, he goes to bed. So no one's even watching it with me. So I watched the whole thing, and now it's like 1:30 a.m. or something, and I'm pissed off because my team lost. And then Ari, who's at her hotel room in Atlanta, calls me and says, "Can you please wake up the animals and share a video of them with me?" So then I have to go around the house and find where my dog and cat are sleeping, turn on the lights, and get a video of them. And so then I don't get to bed till like after 2, and I can't sleep. I'm like awake in bed. So I got shit sleep, bro. And then I still woke up early, and then I fucking took a nap today, but now I'm all off. So I blame Chris. I blame fucking Chris for teasing me with that faker shit. I also blame Jinji, I guess. Atrioc, do you think mid-game subbing, like in football, could be brought into esports for situations like this? Situations like what? What's the situation? What are you talking about? What was the situation that we need to sub? Like if a guy has to go to sleep mid-game. Were you listening to that story? Do you think I was playing with Faker and I fell asleep mid-game? What do you think happened in that story? Do you think nobody playing the game fell asleep? What are you talking about? I wasn't unclear. Sometimes I feel like you're not listening when I'm talking. What? That's not what the story was. The story was not that I played an esports match with Faker and I fell asleep in the middle and they lost. The story was I was about to go to sleep and then I watched a game and it kept me up. But they were fine. None of them fell asleep. Certainly subbing them out wouldn't have changed anything. You're arguing with a viewbot, gang? Why would they program the viewbot to listen to my story and ask slightly dumb questions about it? I'm pretty sure a viewbot would just view. They wouldn't be in the chat, like, listening. And no, I don't think it's a viewbot, gang. I think it's just somebody who didn't. That's how they get you. That's how they get you. That's how they get you, huh? It's like that one Always in Sunny Philadelphia scene where Charlie's pretending. Yeah. He doesn't even get us, man. We're talking about you. It is like that. It's like you're nodding along like you understand what I'm saying, but I don't think you're getting it. One time a teacher called me out for that. Wait, what did the teacher call you out for? What did the teacher call, like, not understanding? That's kind of mean. In front of the whole class? I mean, yeah, of course teacher calls you out for not listening. Falling asleep mid-game and not having a sub. Hey, Atrioc, I know you've been getting into basketball lately. You should try giving dodgeball a try. Not like gym class dodgeball, though. Real WDBF dodgeball. What makes you think that I would want to stop playing basketball with my friends on Sundays to join a professional dodgeball league? What, in what world would that be a smart change for me? I don't understand. WDBF is far above your skill level. I don't claim to have a high skill level at dodgeball. I don't play it. Are you guys rage? What are we talking? What is WDFB? WDBF dodgeball. World Dodgeball Federation. Finals. Okay. Court 1, Day 7 World Dodgeball Championships. This doesn't even look... There's not sound?
So, wir machen einen Wechsel. Andy macht Pause, Model kommt auf 5, okay? Basti bleibt aus.
I mean, they're gonna...
A lot of talk right now between the team.
Why is this suggestion for me?
End of the first half.
Okay.
What a hit!
You weren't taken out.
Is it just me, or is it like... Isn't catching the ball overpowered in dodgeball? Can't you just always catch it? Can't they just practice catching it nonstop and then just... Then throwing it becomes a liability? Easier said than done. I feel like catching being an out for the guy that throws ruins dodgeball. I'll say it. Because then there's an incentive not to throw. They don't throw it as weak as you. You can't even spell the word weak. So don't worry about me, bro. Fucking finish spelling class. We don't got... Wait. Did you see Silk Song's going to cost $20? Are you worried for me? Yeah. I mean, are you worried that I'm not going to be able to... You should probably Prime then, I think. It would help. It would really help me get over the hump to be able to afford it. Atrioc, if you could give up 1 inch of height for $150,000, how many inches would you give up? I'd give up, I don't know, 6. Go down to 6'3", and still be fine. Take a cool. 3's the correct answer? Well, wouldn't it depend on your starting height? -3? Oh, you put some money in? you take out a loan or something? You're gonna add an inch? That's fine. 1 inch of height to what, though? Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't want it to give you a micro penis, I guess. The genie starts subtracting inches down there. Although, what if you're a true Sigma? What if you're like, I'm never going to use this thing. Take all the inches off my dick and give me the cash. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. And then you just fucking, you focus on the grind. Someone said plus 75K. Easy. Easy plus 75K. That's good. That's good. That's fucking good. I'm not going to join the World Dodgeball Federation. All right, you have not convinced me. You have not convinced me. Go into debt to get 2 feet added. Go to the NBA to pay it off. You seem to be under the impression that if you just added a few inches to your height, you could play in the NBA. The only reason you're not in the NBA right now is because you're not tall enough. And I'm not I think you might just end up in debt. And then that and wokeness. Yeah, true. You're also not woke enough for the NBA. If they were 9 feet tall, it'd be pretty good. I guess if they make it so your body can handle it, you could go 9 feet. You could be a giant. You could come in at 10, 11, 12 feet tall, all right, and then just palm the ball into the basket. Then I guess you'd make a lot of money in the NBA. I think that's probably true. Be 15 feet tall and make YouTube shorts. YouTube talls at that point. I better see a wall of plus twos. I better see a fucking wall of plus twos under that, dude. Can you sell Heist sneakers into a bank? Use the bank money in the vault to grow big. Are you having a stroke? Do you think you wrote a coherent sentence? What are you talking about, dude? What is happening today? Take your meds. Everyone in chat needs to take your meds. I swear to God, you guys are deranged this morning. This morning, it's fucking 6:30 p.m. at night, 7 p.m. Take your meds, bro. Sorry, RFK Jr. said I can't. Oh, I forgot. If the GOAT said you can't, you can't. All right? Far be it from me. Although, I got to be honest with you. I don't think my fellow Americans recognize how tasty Red 40 really is. I feel like you're going to miss it when it's gone. I feel like you're not understanding that it's actually fucking delicious. I had some, what's the kind of, the crunchy Flamin' Hot Cheeto. That's what I had. These ones. I had a bag of these with a sandwich today. And my God, dude. Red 40. It just hits. It just hits, dude. It just hits right. There's no other dye you could put in there that would make it taste as good. Back in middle school, I used to sell Red 40 candy sticks for $1. What is a Red 40 candy stick? Do you mean like Starburst or something? What did you sell? Red 40 candy sticks? Red 40 candy stick. Like, is it this? One of these? For $1 a pop? That's a fucking ripoff. I used to snort pixie sticks. Dude, I remember, this is a crazy story. There's 2 parts to it, and the second part's the crazy part. There's a science teacher. It's probably 8th, 9th grade, freshman or sophomore year. There's a science teacher. And he is... This is like, I don't even know if I should tell this. It's actually not cool. All right, I'll tell. Whatever. Okay, so he's a science teacher cooking meth. Yeah, no, he's a science teacher, and he was the parent of, like, his daughter went to the school. Okay, so he was the dad of a student. So, it's always kind of weird when your dad's a teacher because, like, it's just weird. I don't know. It's just like you probably people think you get an advantage or whatever, or you see your dad in class. So anyway, he has to go to the principal's office for something for whatever reason. So he leaves, and he leaves his daughter in charge of the classroom. So I'm in this class, all right? And his daughter is now supposed to, like, watch the class while he's gone. Okay? And so he leaves. He walks out, and he goes out to the principal's office. After a few minutes of him being gone, the class starts to get pretty rowdy. And she is unable or unwilling to calm anyone down. But she's kind of trying. She's like, guys, come on, just chill out because my dad's going to be back pretty soon. And, everyone's just chatting or even getting up or moving around, and she's trying to. So it's a little bit, it's getting a little bit wild. And then one kid goes, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it's like, yo, do you think I could snort this? And the guy next to him goes, yeah. So he takes, it's just a bag of, it's rolled gold pretzels like these, exactly like these. Okay? It's just, he's got a little bag of these. And he pours it out on the laptop. And he goes, smashes it with his fist into a fine powder filled with salt, and then snorts it off the table. And then immediately he starts like yelling, and he said blood starts pouring out of his nose. Like, what the, like the dumbest fucking kid I've ever seen. He's just bleeding all down his face. And that's what is happening. That's the scene when he comes back in and she's standing in the front of the class. He's like in front of the table bleeding. It was very funny. It was very funny. And the sad part of this story, and this is the twist at the end, was that teacher was later fired because he was inappropriate with students. Well, inappropriate messages, I guess. I don't know if anything actually happened, but he was fired, which is really, I feel terrible for her. I think she had to move. She had to leave school. I mean, it was too, yeah. So there was a dark ending to that story, but no, not with his daughter, bro. No, with other students. I mean, it's not good either way, but not with his daughter. Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. But the guy snorted a pretzel, so that, there was a funny side to the story too. It was Dr. Disrespect's uncle. Yeah, maybe. I kind of want to do it now. So this is so funny. Is like, whenever I see a bag of those pretzels, ever since, and it's been years now, I have the same thought. Ever since, I'm like, I wonder what it feels like. What is it? I'm not gonna do it because I've seen the result, but it's like, it like triggers a memory of like, you could. Anyway, it's funny. It's a curiosity, really. Probably feels good. No, it sounds like it feels terrible. If I had to guess, it probably feels terrible. So I'm just, it's the call of the void. I'm using my human free will to not do it, but I believe it's just the salt, though. It probably rips your nose up. I can ask my dealer. I'm sure he can hook you up with 100% pure pretzel dust. I think my dealer of Trader Joe's could get me a bag. I don't need it if I need to cut your guy in on the middle, man. It needs to be grounded just right. Yes. I passed my last CPA exam. Just want to let you know. Congrats, Katie Alate. W Katie in chat. Nice. Exam's done. That's cool. I assume you are now ready for a career in financial fraud, and you're going to help corporations hide their books. That would be the dream. What does CPA stand for? Certified Public Accountant. Yes, I am king. Ozark Arc incoming. W. I just got into a new high school in a new country, and for French class, I had a teacher who was actually doing an 11-year student. You can clearly hear she had done it because we had class after she had her teacher's break. What? What do you mean teacher's break? Like they found out about it and she had a suspension? What does that mean? You can't come back. It should be that's the end of your career as a teacher. What do you guys... This is the craziest chat I've ever had. It's not only that your guys' stories are crazy, it's that you guys have forgotten how to tell a story. You're just you forgot how to write a sentence. You guys have forgotten how to write a sentence. You've forgotten how to use ChatGPT, I guess, if you have to. This is actually good evidence that we need to get smarter today. So this is a good day for Get Smarter Saturdays. I think we're right on time. We're the B team. They subbed out the regular team. A team chatters are on a break, huh? They're resting. A man walks up to a newsstand every morning, checks the front page, then walks away. Eventually, the store owner asks him, "You're here every day but never get anything. What are you looking for?" The man says, "I'm looking for an obituary." The owner responds, "Obituaries are on the back." And the man says, "Not the one I'm looking for." Okay. That was unprompted. That was unprompted. Who are you talking to? About what? Enter a conversation. I don't get it, actually. He's talking about a politician dying. I think it originally comes from Soviet Russia, but you could apply it to DJT or anyone. Gets a good story, complains. Gets a bad story, complains. How do we win with you? What was the good story? I'm sorry, digital farts with the ones instead of eyes. What was the good story? Let me know so I can calibrate my bar. The French teacher was the good story? That was the good one? The pretzel snorter? That was my story! The pretzel snorter was my story! That was me telling you. I didn't get that story. I gave that story. Oh, dear God. Dear God. Death of the author. Sus, Atrioc trying to steal chat's awesome pretzel story and rewrite history. Yeah. Two guys walk into a bar. One says, "Ouch." Why would only one say ouch? Why would only one? Even if you're playing with the language and they're actually literally walking into a bar instead of walking into an open door bar, why wouldn't... Truth nuke. The other guy just tanked it. No, of course he did. Of course he did. The other guy was tough. Fucking sick. That's awesome. That's a relevant and apt story. Thanks, guys. If Atrioc is the soul of the stream, we are the hearth of the stream. What in God's name does that mean? You're the hearth of the stream? What does that mean? Hearthstone? Is that a response to what I just said? If someone asks you, what is the hearth of the stream, saying Hearthstone is not an answer to what I said. It's just word association from a fucking dying synapse in your brain. He meant heart. It didn't even mean hearth. He just misspelled heart. Did you actually not realize that? No, because hearth is a real thing. A hearth, you could have the hearth at home. Chat's on one today and it's awesome. You said this 4 times. I get it. Stop spamming. Chat is on one today and it's awesome. I keep saying you say it. Do you want me to respond to you? You just keep saying, hey, chat's on one today. And it is awesome. I want everyone to know it's awesome the chat's on one today. We get it. All right? We fucking get it. Not gonna lie, I think chat's really on one today. But me, I support it. No, for real though, I think chat's actually on one. Year of Kindness lasted 9 months. Dude, every time I break Year of Kindness, someone gives me a month count. God, you almost made it 6 months. Bro, you've been saying this since fucking January. It didn't last at all. It didn't last at all. And it's not my fault, by the way. Just to be clear, Year of Kindness not lasting is not my fault. I upped my kindness tolerance really high, and then you guys just out-stupided it. You guys climbed over that wall instantly. Okay? It's like I built a dam to stop the flood, and then you guys just flooded the river higher. Yo, Atrioc, the energy in the stream is next level. Loving the vibes, too. Never a dull moment when you're around. Keep it up. Can't wait to see what's coming next. Finally, a good chatter. Finally a good chatter. No, I think someone who really gets the vibe we're looking for here. Yes, thank you. Good vibes. That's what we need. I love that. I love that. I love that. Yesterday, my econ teacher told us that oil will always be the best energy source because it won't ever run out. He then doubled down talking about how we shouldn't worry about future generations running out because it's not our problem. I feel like, I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like you're telling the story with some kind of bias. I don't think your teacher said it'll never run out, but it will run out, but it's not our problem. I got to imagine you either misheard or are not accurately relaying their argument. I don't know what. I'm not saying they have the right argument. I just don't think that's what they said. I don't think they said. And then everyone clapped. Yeah, I'm on one. I'm on one beer. No more though, not since the accident. Great. Fucking cool. That's called good storytelling, you know? it hints at a greater tale to come. For sale baby shoes never worn, you know? Tells a lot. It's building the narrative. For sale Rizzler shoes never rizzed. What is that? That isn't. No, that's not nearly as good. Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. You don't rizz the shoes. It doesn't. Hey, Atrioc, would love to see more AoE 2 content from you. We literally did a Bros vs. Pros yesterday. Yesterday, we did a Bros vs. Pros AoE 2. Less than 24 hours ago. It was too early. Do you think that if you missed it live, there's no way to watch it? Do you think there's no possible way you could? It's gone forever. Wouldn't that be interesting? What would it be like if live streams could just never be recorded? If you always had to be there. Okay, Markiplier? No, it's not. Not the same thing. Unis Honest is not even... It's honestly just a marketing gimmick to make you watch the video. People don't watch over year-old videos generally anyway. It was not... Did you know that France and Spain have the same capital? It's called the euro. You posted this how many times in a row? And then finally you added emoji to it. You posted it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times in a row. And on the 12th time, you added an emoji. And I guess I fucking fell for it. Are you happy? What did you want to happen? Is this your dream of how this all went down? Like, I don't understand what your goal was. Big A, can you confirm that Luka Doncic is the next lemonade stand guest? Yes, I can. He's going to come on. I'm going to give him both fitness and basketball tips. Are you going to cover the DJT stuff that happened on Twitter yesterday? He's not dead. What is there to fucking cover? It's just a fucking... Do you... Okay. Did you ever watch the SpongeBob Flying Dutchman special with Patchy the Pirate? Yes. My favorite part was how they asked everyone to vote for which ending they wanted to see and then showed all three of them anyways because someone in the writers room thought they really had thought up some gold. Yeah, it's a great episode. I watched it. I'm old enough to have watched it live. I watched the first episode of SpongeBob when they aired it. They promoted it on fucking Nickelodeon all week. I remember I saw the promos during Rocket Power. Actually, it might have been the same time. It was Rocket Power and SpongeBob promos, and they premiered like the same day. It was a sick day. Actually, they might have actually done that, if I remember correctly. Did Rocket Power and SpongeBob premiere on the same day? No, it was the same. It was a month apart. July and August. What's Rocket Power? Dude, Rocket Power was a fucking banger. How come SpongeBob survives and Rocket Power doesn't? Rocket Power was great. They're both good. We are riders on a mission, action, something, something. Skate culture died, I guess, but I mean, I assume most viewers weren't skating. Rocket Power. Did you watch Toonami after school? Not really. No. Toonami was like anime. It was like it created the wave of modern weebs was Toonami. I didn't watch too much anime. You missed out. Second wave weebs. I mean, the only anime I ever really watched was Cowboy Bebop. Like before anime was a huge mainstream thing. That was the only one I watched. Unless you count Pokemon, I guess. I fucking love Pokemon. Avatar: The Last Airbender, does that count as anime? Isn't that Western? Avatar: The Last Airbender was great too. I watched that when it was coming out. That's a cartoon though, right? Dude, now I feel bad about saying that because you guys are saying it in such a fucking Redditor way. No, it's a cartoon. Match. Fucking fedora down.
Hello, I'm back. Do you still have your browser source unmuted?
I guess so. I guess so. I did not know that I had TTS still active. That was God. Someone got you good? Yeah, they gave me $5. Yeah, they got me good, bro. My favorite anime is King of the Hill. A man of taste. A man of fucking taste. Inuyasha. Dude, Inuyasha was it one-shotted a lot of nerdy girls. Inuyasha at the time really mentally one-shot a lot of nerdy women, is what I'll say. In the same way that anime has done the same thing for men, but thoughts on the Critical Role Campaign 4 announcement? I know you're a big fan. I'm such a big fan that I don't look at the announcements because I'm not going to miss a moment of it, so I don't want to be spoiled. Hey, Shrek, I tried to get into AoE 2 a couple times in the past few years, but you getting into it and streaming it really kicked into high gear, and now I'm climbing ELO W. Just want to say thank you. It's been a blast. That's a very kind message. Thank you, Jager5. I'm glad you enjoyed. It's a very fun game, but it's very hard. It's very, 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 very hard. So if you get discouraged, it's normal. Um, Same thing for me, but for Hitman, I've been speedrunning Marrakesh. Dude, the modern Marrakesh route is brutal. Good for you. I'm excited for Hitman Co-op to come out. When is that supposed to come out? When is Hitman Co-op come out? That's going to be a fucking era. Hitman Co-op release date. Oh, nothing announced yet. But did they say, like, did they say this year? Did they say, like... they just had the demo? I don't know. I don't know. They had a trailer in June. Man, it'd be awesome if it came out. When is the next Hitman event? I probably will not do another one. We're going to finish the video. We're pretty close. But I don't think I'm going to do another contest. Low key. We got all the big map. It's because I'm poor. Yeah, it's because I ran out of money, dude. It's because I can't afford it. I have to go to $2,500 now. I can't afford that. No, it's just that we did it. We did it for all the big maps, all the big strat. I don't know what. I think it would be. I think it would be worse. The money would go up, but the quality would get worse. We have to find some way to change it if we did. Will you be able to afford Silksong, though? 20 big ones? I noticed that you are not subbed, Potato Tower. If you could just drop a quick sub, you were previously subbed. You lapsed. If you could just renew that sub, I'll be able to afford Silksong. Right now, I'm $5 short. I'm $5 short, and I'm like, I didn't want to be so open about it, but I'm like really hoping that I can get over that edge. Here you go, Big A. I got it. Thank you so much, Swordmate. However, I miscalculated. I was actually $10 short. So now I'm only $5 short. So I still need Greased Wheel. Or I'm sorry, not Greased Wheel. I need a... Okay, thank you for the primes. Actually, I was actually... No, thank you for the subs. But I was actually negative $50 away from getting there. So it actually hasn't... It worked! Holy! Just let the buyer beware. Thank you for the 5 gifties. All right, I'm playing Silksong then. I wasn't gonna play because I couldn't afford it, but now I will. I actually bought I bought a Silksong banner for my bookshelf. I'm gonna hang it over the bookshelf. I'm gonna set up the whiteboard with I'm gonna draw a map as I go, and I'm gonna fucking try to. We'll get a treasure train. Will Llama 386. Thank you for the 5 gifties. Holy, we're treasure trained. We're like pirates in the fucking modern age of piracy. And there's a fucking trove of treasure. I'll use the whiteboard. Yeah, we've heard that before. Vinox Storm. What was the last game I said I'd use the whiteboard for? Can you answer that question? Can you answer that question, Vinox Storm? Blueprints. 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 That's right. It was Blueprints. You think I didn't use it? You think I didn't use it? So I'm going to be fucking using it for Silksong, all right? You should have a board for a lemonade stand. What? Like they use during the NBA halftime where they have to run to it. Okay. Why? Why would I? Why? Hey, Shrek, would you ever consider having the Rizzler on lemonade stand? I would. I'm just worried that his deep geopolitical knowledge would have us feeling a little out of our depth. Is honestly what I'm worried about. I feel like the Rizzler. If like the Rizzler's there, we almost don't even need to be there. Like what question could we ask a god? Rizzlernomics isn't for the liberal mind. Yeah, I also feel like the force of his personality would hella overshadow Aiden. That's a really good point. I do feel like Aiden would get kind of mogged by the Rizzler, and it would be to his detriment. And so if we have to cut him, it's going to be another episode where Aiden's cut. I just don't... It could be... Have you seen Nuja 2? The dub came out in theaters, and I took my friends to see it after hearing about it from your stream, and we loved it. That's cool you heard about it from my stream. I was going to watch it on stream once the community made a dub. I think they got really stuck for some reason. They were working on a fan-made, fan-dubbed thing, but somehow it got stuck. I don't know. But if it ever happens, we'll watch it. It's probably a lot of work. Yeah, it's dubbing a full movie. So, okay. I think we're going. It's 7:30. I think it's time to get smarter. Here's the thing I've noticed from this opening part of the stream, is that everybody could use a couple more IQ points, myself included. In fact, I think you've burned whatever I had left. And so the best way in modern times to add more IQ to your brain, it's like installing new RAM, is to watch YouTube videos, it turns out. YouTube videos are the single greatest distribution mechanism for IQ points. It's like digitally downloading RAM, just right to your brain. So what we're going to do is Get Smarter Saturdays, a storied age-old tradition of this stream. All you have to do is submit to me in chat the videos in the past few weeks or months that you think would help chat learn. The rules are rather simple, much like the plan. The video can't be too long. The video can't be too boring. And by the end of the video, we have to have learned something. 3 rules. Submit. One second, I have to grab a water. Get your videos in. Get your videos in while I get a water.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is Joseph Matthews, and in this little tutorial I'm going to teach you how to be funny. And it's actually going to be much easier
Look chat, Atrioc is dumb and still hasn't figured out the chat thing. I don't know what to tell you.
Holy moly, I was gone a while. Holy moly, I was gone a while. My bad, my bad. Yeah, I was snorting a fucking pretzel, bro. Okay, let's get a video. We could learn about where Wind Waker's water from. The Taco Bell art heist. Okay, wait, that actually looks pretty interesting. The Taco Bell art heist, 1.6 million views. Fern, 14 minutes. Seems like an easy enough thing to kick us off. Wait a minute. It's good. Okay, let's do it. Fuck it. Wait, why are people saying I was hacked? Why did Airrack just follow me? Why are people saying that I got hacked? And then why are people saying Airrack just followed me? Oh, I got TTS hacked? But no, I mean, I'm not kidding. I checked Twitter to see if I was hacked. I'm not hacked. But isn't this guy like one of the...
As a kid, I always wondered, what would happen if you shipped yourself in the mail?
I secretly hid in Kai Cenat's live stream finale.
This is me hiding in the background of Kai Cenat's live stream. Along with some of the biggest streamers in the entire world.
When is Airrack gonna hide in my live stream? Is he in my room right now?
You're not hacked, bro.
Airrack, if you try to hide in my live stream, Evan Gal will find you in the closet where he's already in there and shiv you. You try to hide in mine, and Evan Gal's he's gonna got your life on the fucking line, bro. He's in the walls, and he knows them better than you. All right, let's watch this Taco Bell art heist. Taco Bell art heist.
A while ago, a headline caught our eye. One of the most unusual heists in America seems to be unfolding at Taco Bell.
Artwork mysteriously gone
This great art heist.
Grabbed a piece off the wall.
They're now going for big bucks on the black market.
Okay.
A heist? At Taco Bell? We love a good fast food scandal, so we had to find out more. It looks like paintings in Taco Bell stores mysteriously disappear, then reappear online with hefty price tags, up to $30,000.
Who would
Apparently, a thriving underground market is forming, shaking up the contemporary art world. How did this become a thing? Who is stealing them? And why would anyone pay thousands for a piece of corporate branding?
Why?
We went undercover. We prowled the Taco Bell subreddits. We lurked in the Living Mas Discord channel. We haggled with eBay sellers. We talked to a taco restaurant artist, and things are not as they seem.
What do you
This is a
mean?
whodunit story.
GameStop of art heists.
Some of them were stolen.
What is the GameStop of art heists? Okay, I have to know. What does this mean?
We're now going for big bucks on the black
Fake
market.
news.
Westlake Taco Bell goes up into flames.
Nobody's really like Paycheck.
After crashing into a Taco Bell sign in Westlake,
Would
Ohio.
you consider $7,500 each?
Chasing
We
the
log into our
Crunchwrap
deserted
Crumbs.
eBay account and start digging. It doesn't take much time to find the 10K listing the news is talking about. We decide to reach out. Hey, I'm super interested in the Taco Bell prints. And this one is listed for $7,225. Hey, I'm super interested in the Taco Bell prints. And here's someone selling a full set for $30,000. Hey, super interested.
No, I get it.
While we wait for an answer, we go to check out the Taco Bell subreddits.
If you're super
r//
interested, make a
Moss seems to
bid.
be the real deal. Here's where the truly devoted Taco Bell underground scene gets together. I eat Taco Bell at least 200 times a year. Impressive. After a while, we find out what we came for. Anyone know where I can buy copies of the Taco Bell wall art? A lead.
Dude, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't get the images are right here. Just you can get them printed. You can go to Etsy right now with these images and say, "Hey, I want a copy of that," and someone can make it for you. Like, why would you spend $30,000? You have the image.
Anyone know where I can buy copies of the Taco Bell wall art? A lead. Looking to acquire my favorite piece of Taco Bell art by Mark Smith. If anyone is looking to sell theirs, I'll pay premium.
Someone said, "Bro wants to print the Mona Lisa." First of all, people do print the Mona Lisa. That happens. People print and buy copies of the Mona Lisa. They don't pass around the one copy of the Mona Lisa around the world whenever people want. Secondly, I would rather print the Mona Lisa than buy the Mona Lisa because buying it is absurdly expensive, probably priceless.
Other users seem to have successfully acquired the art and offer advice for hopeful buyers. Keep an eye on eBay and Mercari. They pop up every once in a blue moon for $300 to $500. Add to the mix that those of them that did get sold in the past 5 years went to hardcore T-Bell fans that won't sell. $300 to $500 seems way more reasonable. Oh, the two eBay sellers replied. For the 8.5K seller, we try to lowball him as much as possible. We tell him we found a cheaper offer and that we'd be paying $2,000 max. And then, he sends us an offer from $8,500 down to $2,000. Just like that. Meanwhile, the other seller is definitely playing another game. Hey, I'm super interested in the Taco Bell prints.
Please feel free to make an offer, thanks.
$5,000. Of course, we're here for the intel, not the prints. I'm willing to pay more if you tell me where you got the prints from. As far as I know, Taco Bell never officially sold them.
These prints were pulled directly out of a Taco Bell. I was featured on NBC News about them.
He sends us the link to the NBC coverage.
I have 3 of them. Are you offering $5,000 for...
The easiest undercover sting of all time. Yeah, I stole them. Here's where I stole them. Here's the specific Taco Bell. Here's a link to a news article about it.
all 3 or $5,000 each?
Interesting. We were under the impression he only sold one for $10K, not suddenly 3. But not so fast. The news clip suggested those prints were stolen, since they're talking about an art heist. $5,000 each.
Some of them were stolen. Mine were not. That's why they chose me and mine to feature on the news. Would you consider $7,500 each?
Interesting. Let me check in with my wife first.
No problem.
What is going on?
In real life, checking in with your wife. Hey, I can imagine going to Ari. Hey, man, I'm thinking of spending $30,000 on 3 Taco Bell prints from 1999. You think that's a good use of our savings?
Can they possibly be worth that much? We need an expert, preferably specialized in taco restaurant art. And some structure. This project is getting out of hand. Too many tasks, even more notes. We're missing the full picture. Complex projects need clear structure. That's where Udo comes in.
No.
Udo is an all...
No, you haven't earned this yet. You haven't earned this yet.
Only problem. We're based in Germany. Currently, the only Taco Bells in this country are in US.
I've been here. I've been here.
It's military bases.
I've been here. I've been to this Taco Bell. I grew up on this base. This is Ramstein. This is the Ramstein Taco Bell. I'm the thief. 100%. I've been to this Taco Bell. There's there's a Burger King next to this, and also a Charlie's sandwiches or whatever. That's funny.
Back to Taco Bell. Checking out their decor directly would be great. Only problem, we're based in Germany. Currently, the only Taco Bells in this country are on US military bases. No chance for us to scarf a half-pound cheesy bean and rice burritos with potatoes while enjoying contemporary American art. There may not be a Taco Bell, but there are taco restaurants, of course. And one time, we went to a place in Berlin that had custom-made art on the walls. Time to track down the artist responsible. It takes a second, but eventually we find him.
I'm Luka. I'm 38 years old, and I'm a painter.
And our taco restaurant art expert.
A friend of mine started to run this taco place with 3 other friends, and he asked me to do a mural in this taco restaurant.
Let's take a look at the Taco Bell paintings together.
First of all, I like them very much. It's like neo-expressionism, and you see a lot of like Basquiat in it, I would say. I think it's like very contemporary. Basquiat is like one of the most trending artists at the moment.
I think it's just Taco Bell slop.
Kind of explains the popularity.
In the late 80s,
it says Taco Bell
Jean-Michel
on it.
Basquiat
That's a corporate
was one of the
brand
most
on
popular
it.
contemporary artists. His paintings have fetched some of the highest prices ever for works of art. An extremely influential guy. And if you compare him to the Taco Bell paintings, you can clearly see the influence. This is Basquiat, and this is Taco Bell. For a long time now, Taco Bell has cultivated a brand that's different from other fast food companies.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
They're bold, edgy, rebellious. Mark T. Smith was commissioned to capture this new image.
I'm sorry, what is bold, edgy, and rebellious about having a fucking Chihuahua say Yo quiero Taco Bell or having LeBron James rollerblade? How is that bold, edgy, or rebellious?
They're bold, edgy.
Is this bold, edgy, or rebellious?
Rebellious. Mark T. Smith was commissioned to capture this new image. He works for MTV. He rides a motorcycle. His art looks like graffiti. And of course, Basquiat. He can get customers to understand what Taco Bell is really all about. And it looks like he did. But how much would such a painting actually be worth?
If the artist is not like world famous, probably a reasonable price in the gallery would something in between 3,000 to 5,000 euros.
Okay, well, but these are not original.
Yeah, it's
They're
just
just
a
prints. Reportedly, the 3 original prints hang in
It's just
Taco
a
Bell
print!
headquarters, though a lot of sellers are trying to convince us otherwise. Then again, art dealers will argue that art is like any other market-based investment. The price is determined by what people will pay.
Yeah.
But with one key difference.
That is true. That's
art has
right.
the added bonus of distinction around cultural capital. Any super rich person can buy a yacht, but only one can own that multi-million-dollar Rothko. And only a few can own these Taco Bell prints. There's something alluring about them. You can't just buy them at a Taco Bell merch store. They're special, because someone had to steal them. But who started all of this?
I promise you Warren Buffett is not thinking like this. I promise you the super rich are not thinking around like, I have to have one of the Taco Bell prints because it was stolen. That is not the case. This is why you're poor. You got me. This is
When
why
clicking
I'm
through
poor.
pictures of a listing, we stumble across this little sticker here. It says Columbus, Ohio, and there's the same sticker here, and here, and here, and here, and here. We also see some listings shipping from Ohio, here, and here.
Okay.
Ohio. That's where the first heist happened, in a uniquely troubled Taco Bell branch in Westlake. Driver upends car against Westlake Taco Bell sign, police say. Westlake Taco Bell goes up into flames.
Jesus.
Man damages Westlake Taco Bell when he can't order grilled breakfast potato burrito, police say. What?
The Taco Bell behind me off Columbia Road in Westlake is where some believe the great Taco Bell art heist begins.
Here's the police report of said heist in 2015. At 4:13 on March 15, 2015, a Taco Bell manager reported the theft of a painting the previous evening.
Okay.
The painting was estimated to be valued at approximately $800.
What if it's a
The incident
inside
was not
job?
captured on CCTV. There were no witnesses or suspects identified.
Holy shit, the perfect crime.
This is the corresponding 2015 article from a local newspaper. 4 years earlier, someone already tried to steal the very same prints in the very same branch. That's the police report. An 18-year-old former employee drove up to the store.
Dude, we're going to go into Taco Bell's and they're going to have the prince behind glass with 2 security guards like the fucking Mona Lisa. They're going to be inlaid into the fucking wall.
Late at night with a handful of friends, ran in, grabbed a painting, and tried to get away. It was most likely not a highly calculated crime, but an impulsive taco and beer-fueled crime of passion. One of the sellers we talked to also had the Ohio stickers on his prints. He said he didn't steal them, but that they were gifted to him, because he was
part of a team that tore down a closed Taco Bell location.
We had no way of verifying his story, but it is in line with the news reports saying that Taco Bell employees took the art during renovations. And interestingly, we can't find any other reported heists after the one in Ohio in 2015. It looks like the prints for sale online were mostly produced in Ohio, stolen or retrieved in Ohio, and then sold from Ohio. This doesn't look like a high-profile nationwide art heist at all.
Yeah, of course.
Let's zoom out.
Why?
In 2011, a presumably drunk teen in Westlake, Ohio, tried to run away with a piece of fast food decor, but his former boss stopped him in the parking lot. 4 years later, Westlake police got a phone call from the same place that another piece of fast food decor was now missing. That was local news. It was picked up by ArtNet, and they half-ironically called it an art heist. Years after...
I don't understand Is this just that somebody took a piece of art off the wall of Taco Bell and the price was high, so other people have done that? Like, why do we keep cycling through? It's like, I feel like it's the dying for pie Squidward thing again. There's no big conspiracy.
Some Taco Bell prints appeared on eBay and Reddit for sale, allegedly posted by former employees who took them for free during renovations. So far, so unspectacular. But then, in May 2024, this article was published. It made a connection between the 2011 and 2015 Ohio incidents and the eBay listings.
Okay.
One of the most unusual heists in America seems to be unfolding at Taco Bell. There are 2 problems with that headline. First, it's not unfolding. The incident happened roughly 10 years ago.
Okay.
As far as we can tell, nothing happened since. We asked Taco Bell if they can report any other thefts, but they didn't come back to us. They also never commented when other media outlets asked. Second, it's not unfolding in America. This makes it sound like a multi-state operation. All the confirmed thefts happened at a singular, albeit very cursed, Taco Bell branch. The story's catchy though, and other media outlets seemingly picked it up. They start calling it a nationwide art heist, where Taco Bells nationwide have fallen victim to art heists. NBC says the pieces are selling for thousands online, referring to this 10K listing, but until today, it never actually sold. The listing in itself doesn't prove anything.
Yeah.
I can list my shoe for $7 million. Doesn't mean it will sell.
Okay.
Then this sad excuse for a true crime story gets another twist. We stumble upon a podcast called Pop Crime.
March 14th, 2015, Westlake, Ohio. An art piece that someone...
Wait, is this a marketing gimmick? Is this a secret Taco Bell marketing gimmick to...
argued to be as valuable as the Mona Lisa, stolen in plain sight.
With a tongue-in-cheek tone, they take over the exaggerated narrative.
The first of the Taco Bell art heists, but certainly not the last. This
sounds
was
AI
just the
generated.
start of almost a decade-long art heist.
Whatever. But wait.
I am partnering with Taco Bell to tell you the story.
This episode got sponsored by Taco Bell. What is their role in all of this?
Wait, what?
It's the year 1996. On April 1st, Taco Bell ran a full-page ad in the New York Times claiming that they bought the Liberty Bell, an iconic American monument to freedom. They assured the public that it would still be accessible for all, but that it would now be called the Liberty Taco Bell. Many readers missed that the ad was run on April Fool's Day, and thousands called to complain that the Liberty Bell should not be something that can be bought and branded. Then Taco Bell revealed the joke, and all the hype around the scandal resulted in a huge spike in revenue, generating more than $1 million extra in 2 days. Taco Bell knows how to make people talk about its brand, often by going with organic viral stories or stunts rather than traditional ads.
Okay.
So they've profited from hoaxes before. What if the art heist story is similar? It got Taco Bell tons of free media coverage, kind of like this video. Wait a minute. We've zero proof that Taco Bell caused any of the reporting. Probably they didn't, but they did not bother to clarify that there is in fact no nationwide heist either, as far as we can tell. Then they sponsored a podcast pushing their heist narrative. We asked Taco Bell for comment. It looks to us like overblown price tags on eBay cause an overblown story, which caused more sellers to ask for overblown prices.
Yeah, so there's like a story behind it, you know? Like it's not only a print, it's like a stolen print from a taco restaurant. So like the story kind of creates the value
If this isn't the art market in a nutshell, we don't know what it is. The Dubionica understands this dynamic very well himself. When we checked his Instagram, some pictures stood out to us. Presumably, they show him with some famous gallerists and investors. Like here...
You know, the Mona Lisa became the most famous painting in the world because it was stolen. That's the theft story. I think attempted theft. This is not a joke. That's the reason the Mona Lisa went from like a relatively unknown painting to the fucking painting. I think it was stolen, but then they got it back. Oh.
Larry Mertens and Maximilian Wittgenstein.
No, they're not Larry Mertens and Maximilian Wittgenstein. Yeah, they're not real. They're invented. They're two friends of mine.
Here we can see him and his painting, apparently in a big Barcelona gallery.
Yeah, but it's I photoshopped it. Really easy to make.
And here in Antwerp.
Yeah, that's photoshopped. That's
What?
A real painting of mine in the gallery. It's a photo stand. It's a performance art. So it's kind of like this, not making fun of the artwork, but it's just like a part of the artwork with like famous gallerists and like famous collectors.
He posted all kinds of made-up stories and photos. Interestingly enough, no one noticed. He gained more and more followers.
No, I think it's just like similar to fake news. You're just like posting something and like nobody's really like fact-checking.
Now he's being exhibited in big actual galleries, and his paintings are auctioned at Sotheby's.
There you go. Fake it till you make it.
It seems no one is actually buying the Ohio Taco Bell art prints for thousands of dollars. But when will the first domino fall?
That was not a good video. I mean, I sort of get it, but you really stretched out the fact that nothing happened. I can't believe they got 1.6 million views. That's crazy. That could have been a 30-second video, maybe a 2-minute video. All right. Well, the task is on the chat now to make something better. The cannibalism industry? I don't want to read about human meat. That's gross. How Warren Buffett tried to trick Bill Gates in a dice game? What is this thumbnail? China's most unhinged president you've never heard of, and he's just swimming? Best burrito ever, 15 million views. Joe Rogan doesn't understand graphs. The bizarre kidnapping of Aldi's. No, I'm not going back to Fern for now. Daily Silksong News, kinda. Dude, this guy believed. This guy put in the effort. Shout out to Daily Silksong News. Wait, I just want to look at Daily Silksong News real quick. What was the day? Just endless no's. What was the day there they really announced the date? What was that trailer footage? Silksong game. This one? This one right here. Emergency Silksong News.
Emergency news! Emergency news! Emergency news announcement! Team Cherry has uploaded a post to their Twitter that the countdown is on. In 48 hours, we will be receiving a special announcement about Hollow Knight Silksong with a link to a YouTube premiere in 48 hours.
You gotta respect that. That's how many days in is that? 1,676 days in. It took 413 eggs to make this work. Spider-Man intro. 1.3K view. Hillary was right. What are we linking, bro? We're trying to learn. Why does Sinners look so good? How to eat like a pirate, hardtack and grog. That's what we're learning today? How to eat like a pirate? We're gonna make our own hardtack and grog? We've seen this. Prohibition oversimplified could be good, I guess. I don't think I've seen this. I love oversimplified. I think he does a great job. That could be good. This country disappeared 8 times. Poland. Free money and economic system. Oh, dear God. I spent 30 days in a dead MMO and it was amazing. Dude, okay, this is what I'm talking about this. I feel like this video gets made by different people every few months. And I think it only works because the title and thumbnail is so compelling to our human brain. But the actual video is boring as shit. Something about fucking human brains, they go, oh, that's so crazy. Look at the thumbnail. It's like he's alone. And then they click it, and then it makes a bunch of money, and then people make it again. But it's never good. It's never a good video. I hate this. HJ. The HJ tone indicator is worse than... What is HJ? I can only think of hand job. What is /HJ? Half joking. I'm not a big tone indicator person, I gotta be honest with you. I'm not a big tone indicator person, but especially if you're typing half joking. That's crazy. How to memorize spelling words quickly. Snorting salt in Pete's Army. How Soviet housing worked from Feral. It's like a Fern knockoff. JD Vance buying donuts. Yeah, I remember that from the election. Is Belgium's government on the brink? Why YouTube still rules the internet? I tried Tom Cruise's deadliest stunt. It's a banger thumbnail. How many FDA violations does the Krusty Krab have? I would like something that could. Romans stopped reading books. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Why Romans stopped reading books? Because we stopped reading books now, and we can learn from ancient Rome why they did it. Was it TikToks?
Over the past few years, American bookstores have staged a comeback. Creative marketing and the social media phenomenon of book talk are partly responsible. But in the end, the appeal of bookstores comes down to the simple pleasure of browsing shelves. And that was a pleasure the Romans knew very well.
Okay.
Across the empire, according to the usual estimate, only about
By the
1
way,
in 10
I
Romans...
mean, you know, it's just smut, right? That's the bounce back of books. Is that they've found a way to make romance smut and then put it on TikTok. And now I mean, we're not like we're reading really much more.
Could read. The literacy rate was lowest in rural areas, among slaves, and for non-elite women. Freeborn urban men, by contrast, were reasonably likely to possess at least the basic literacy required to keep records and sign their names.
They can at least chat, right?
The Roman elite defined themselves by a sophisticated literary education and filled their cities with texts. Some were inscribed on the tombs that lined the highways, on the triumphal arches and statue bases of forums, on the notice boards that carried copies of the Acta Diurna, Rome's newspaper.
Okay.
The texts most important to the Roman elite, however, were in books.
But why do they stop reading?
From the reign of Augustus onward, the city of Rome boasted an impressive array of public libraries.
Twitch chat.
Libraries were attached to the Temple of Apollo by the Imperial Palace, to Vespasian's Temple of Peace, to the vast Forum of Trajan, where there were 2 collections, one Latin and one Greek, and to the great imperial baths. The private libraries of the aristocracy, arranged in dedicated rooms on shelves of rare wood, were almost equally extensive. The only example found intact, in the Villa of the Papyri at Herculaneum, was only about 10 feet square, with shelves along the walls and a double-sided case at the center. But even this modest room, almost certainly
Dude,
not.
imagine, this is quite a place to live. Is this a person's estate? This is nice. You got this fucking garden. You got the grounds. You got this. This is baller. What do you mean it's okay? A little smaller than my house, but it's okay, I guess. Average house in Clancyville? No. For the elite, maybe.
This primary library contained upward of 1,000 scrolls. Until late antiquity, virtually every book with literary pretensions was written on papyrus scrolls. A scroll had about the same height as a modern book.
Okay.
The length ranged from 10 to 50 feet, the equivalent of about 20 to 100 pages of printed text.
Okay, so they got to the
Longer
point.
works were divided. Each of the 142 books in Livy's Roman history, for example, originally occupied a single scroll. The text was written as a continuous stream of letters, with no spaces and minimal punctuation. The Codex, the book as we know it, appeared early in the imperial...
Reading a book, but it's all caps jumbled together with no punctuation. The original wall of text. Literally, you just roll it out 50 feet.
...era. Although it was initially used for works of practical reference.
Imagine you show up to the rap battle with a 10-foot scroll and your opponent has a 50-foot scroll. Yeah, that would suck. Good, that's a good situation.
Marshall, writing at the end of the 1st century, noted that Roman booksellers
it's
were
like Donald Trump
experimenting with
tweets.
Travel editions of
Maybe
his
he's
poems
Roman.
in book format. But it was only over the course of the 3rd and 4th centuries, and thanks in large part to a Christian preference for codices, that scrolls were finally eclipsed.
Okay.
Although a small book market existed in classical Athens, and a more substantial one in Hellenistic Alexandria, it was in Rome that the book trade
Okay, so they
truly
started
emerged.
reading.
The business was still in its infancy during the last days of the Republic, when Cicero relied on his friend Atticus, who had a staff of slaves trained as copyists, to supply his libraries. But by the early imperial era, Rome had several well-established tabernae librariae, bookstores.
Okay.
One of these, owned by a man named Atrioc, stood in the high-rent district around Caesar's Forum. The titles of bestsellers
The original
were painted on the
nerds.
pillars that flanked its entrance. Like most of his competitors, Atrioc had likely been a slave copyist or librarian before gaining his freedom and entering the business of selling and
Kind of
publishing
based.
books.
Kind of based.
We'll explore how Roman books were published
Where's there a
after a
break?
few words about this video.
Okay, give me...
Publication in the Roman world was an informal process. Most authors, like artists in later centuries, were either wealthy or attached to wealthy patrons.
Okay.
Roman authors, therefore, usually had no need to support themselves through their work. For some, publication consisted simply of reciting their works in public. Others gave copies to friends, with the understanding that these would be shared. An extreme example of this strategy was
So a
adopted
rich person pays you to write a book, and then you publish it by standing in the town square and speaking it aloud? Then I'm a fucking writer. Okay?
by a wealthy orator.
The
who
first
produced
streamer?
and distributed no fewer than 1,000 copies of a speech commemorating his son. Authors with a keener interest in financial benefit used booksellers to publish their works. Quintilian, for example, addressed the preface of his Institutes of Oratory to the bookseller Tryphon, who was acting as the work's publisher. There was no equivalent of copyright or royalties. The bookseller paid a lump sum.
Yeah, if there's no
for the
copyright,
author's
couldn't I just
manuscript
steal the book?
and kept all profits from sales of the copies he produced. Many booksellers seem to have stocked and copied a wide range of texts. Alongside Quintilian's weighty treatise on rhetorical education, Tryphon also sold Marshall's light-hearted epigrams.
Okay.
Some books were packaged for the luxury market. One edition of Marshall, bordered with expensive purple dye, cost 5 denarii, more than most Romans made in a week.
Sheesh.
But shops also stocked cheap and reused scrolls. By the 2nd century, there were sellers who specialized in antique books.
Antique books in
Aulus
Rome?
Gellius records browsing vintage works of fantastic fiction at a bookstall in Brundisium and finding,
Okay,
in a
but
shop
why do
in
they
Rome,
stop
a
reading?
history that dated back to the beginnings of Latin literature.
I want to know why they stopped
One of
reading.
Gellius's acquaintances discovered an antique manuscript of the Aeneid, supposedly in the hand of Virgil himself, for sale at a street fair. Educated Romans consumed a wide range of literature in both Greek and
No,
Latin.
it's called fucking delivering on the promise from the title and thumb, bro. If you say at the time you're going to say whether it's in your books, I don't need the fucking history to get to it. I want to know the answer to the
Besides
question.
The amateur productions of their friends, Pliny the Younger, for example, subjected dinner guests to his poems.
You don't need
They
the
read or
history.
listened to everything from edifying aphorisms to titulating Milesian tales.
I don't need to hear that he listened to
Although
titillating
works
Milesian
by
tales.
popular authors like Marshall sold thousands, and perhaps tens of thousands of copies, they were eclipsed by the classics of the Augustan era. Of these, the most successful was Virgil's Aeneid. Like the Iliad in the Greek world and the Bible in early modern Europe, the Aeneid was the book from which children were taught to read, and the one book that any family with a library owned. It was probably the only Roman book that existed, like modern bestsellers, in hundreds of thousands. of
Okay, so it's a very popular book. Great.
During late antiquity, the Roman book trade declined.
Here we go.
With the educated elite that had supported it. The copying of secular texts slowed and finally ceased. The books in Roman libraries, public and private, crumbled on their shelves. Only a small contingent of survivors found
But
their
why?
way into monasteries. Of all the millions of books that existed in the last days of the Western Roman Empire, we have, leaving aside papyri from Herculaneum and Egypt, physical fragments of only a few hundred. Perhaps the most impressive of these is the Vatican Virgil, an illustrated edition of the poet's works, produced around the end of the 4th century.
Oh my fucking God.
Written on fine parchment in a tidy rustic
fucking
capital
God.
script, the codex had hundreds of illustrations, some occupying an entire page. Today, however, only about a sixth of the leaves survive. The rest, like almost all the products of the Roman book trade, are gone. You too can be gone.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh, shut the fuck up. Everyone in chat, he's getting to it. You're so impatient. He's getting to it. You have to understand all this history so we can answer the fucking question. You're not getting it. Shut the Dude, the clickbait of YouTube is going to ruin society. It's going to ruin society. Just deliver on the fucking promise you put in the title and thumb. Okay. We need something good. We need something good. I can't believe this is called Why Romans Stopped Reading Books. And the answer of why is not even brought up. Not even brought up. It's just at the very end they say, yeah, they stopped reading books. It's like a fucking 9 minutes, 45 seconds about books in Rome. And then in 15 seconds, yeah, they stopped reading them. I got with a $1.30 ad in the middle. Okay. Chat, we gotta get something good. We gotta get something good. Why the greatest restaurant review of all time? NBA teams are drafting worse. Why? The short seller who bet on a Minecraft financial crisis. See, that's an interesting title and thumb, but I'm almost positive that this is hyping up something that's not that exciting in real life. I'm almost positive. I can just feel it. I can feel that this is a title thumb that is making a big deal out of something very small. So I'm not going to click it. The education trap. I'll jump right to it again. Detroit's tiny, terrible metro system. One guy against the Japanese government. Seems kind of interesting. It's also short. I'll take a risk.
It's 1800s Japan, and it's quite the time for political turmoil. Japan has been in isolation for more than 200 years, no foreigners allowed.
Okay.
And now the Americans have forcibly opened up the markets, and a lot of change is happening. Westerners are here with ships, guns, fashion. Things are about to get crazy.
Ooh.
And there is the heavenly leader of Japan, the emperor, but there is also the real government of Japan, the military leader, known as the shogun. And while both are inviting in Western powers, the shogun is making a lot of deals where Westerners get the significant upper hand.
Bad deal maker.
And so the emperor decides to overrule the shogun. But the emperor is kind of weak. He doesn't have a military government. So it's civil war time, and now it's time to pick a side. Are you pro-shogun or pro-emperor? And now that you have picked a side, you're going to get assassinated. Everyone, whether they are pro-shogun or pro-emperor or have the vaguest concept of politics, they're going to get assassinated.
That's fun.
It's just what the political landscape was like back then.
Okay.
Sakamoto Ryoma is a former samurai and proud anti-Westerner, and while not necessarily a fan of assassinating people, he does like to think big.
Sure.
So he's going to aim high and end all of this once and for all. Therefore, he's going to go straight to the home of Katsukaishu, a big-time Navy admiral and a government official for the emperor, to assassinate him. Because, you know, Sakamoto
I thought he wasn't supportive of assassinations.
Ryoma doesn't like assassinating people, but it's fine if he's the one doing it.
I see.
So Sakamoto Ryoma goes to the home of Katsukaishu, where he happens to be, and greets him and says, "Hi, my name is Sakamoto Ryoma, and I'm going to assassinate you because I really don't like where all this westernization is going." And Katsukaishu is like, "Well, okay, I don't really have much of a choice here. You're clearly going to assassinate me. But would you be willing to hear me talk about the Navy before I go? And after that, you can just kill me." And Sakamoto goes, "Yeah, sure, the Navy, whatever, but after that, you get assassinated."
Okay.
And Katsukaishu starts talking about how, as a result of 200 years of isolation, Japan is hundreds of years behind in Navy technology. Westerners have big guns on their ships that can sink anything that Japan has. And while Western influence is bad, completely expelling Western influence is only going to set up Japan to become weaker and weaker until the entire nation gets invaded.
Fair point.
And Sakamoto Ryoma is like, "Well, damn, that's a really good point."
Yeah. Talking yourself out of an assassination is pretty crazy. I've never seen someone facts and logic someone who wanted to kill them. That's an unreal charisma check.
Well, I feel like an idiot. This was a bad idea. I should probably just go.
Does he still stab him?
Katsukaishu says, "Well, if you agree with me, instead of leaving, why don't you just join me instead?" And so former samurai and staunch traditionalist Sakamoto Ryoma has now instead become the
Holy
apprentice of
shit, what a
Katsukaishu,
fucking...
a figurehead in Japan's westernization. Sakamoto starts
Insane
studying about
riz.
the West, and in particular, he really starts to admire the United States. Mainly the democratic principles.
Wait, he went from wanting to kill people for supporting westernization to becoming a Westaboo? He literally says, "I watch Family Guy in the original English, okay? I don't listen to the fucking Japanese dub." Holy fucking shit.
Idea of a constitution and a casteless system where people are judged by merit and not the clan they come from. And he decides to show his infatuation with the US not just by studying a lot of its culture, but
He's a
also
reverse
by
Ludwig.
wearing his traditional garments while strutting around town in leather boots and holding a revolver. Probably...
He's actually a Westavoo. He's literally the fucking guy with a samurai sword in his house in America. That's so funny. He flipped so quick. He's the katana guy.
A complete badass by his own accord, but a complete culture clash to any onlookers. But the
so
Shogun is
funny.
growing anxious about these dissenters like Sakamoto. So Sakamoto flees the province before someone comes to assassinate him. But what can you do to stir the pot a bit in your favor? So he goes to Kagoshima to visit two clans. The Satsuma...
Did I just picture him? What's the American version of like an Ahegao sweater? It's like cowboys or something with their tongue out. Like cheeseburgers and cowboys.
Clan and the Choshu clan, and despite the fact that they are both anti-shogun, they have a historical rivalry that is so bad that it's considered irreconcilable. But in comes Sakamoto Ryoma, and he decides he's going to mend this difference.
Okay.
So he goes to the Choshu clan and says, hey, did you guys know that the Satsuma clan have a lot of guns? They have all these shipments coming in from the west. It's just a shame they have a rice shortage, huh? And he goes to the Satsuma clan and says, hey, did you know that the Choshu clan has all this stored rice? They could feed two clans. It's just too bad they don't have any guns.
Okay, matchmaker.
And so Sakamoto Ryoma, acting as the mediator, forms a historic alliance between two feuding clans, where they both agree that it's okay to hate and fight each other as long as they are the ones doing the hating and fighting. If anyone comes after them, though, they will act as allies, and along with that, they will work together to take down the shogun.
Okay.
And it's done with signing a deal and with this post photograph.
Oh,
Very
fucking
neat. And because of the now
Auriform. Whoa, wait.
Done with signing a deal and with this post.
Jesus, look at holy Giga Chat. Wait a minute, that's an insane Auriform from the guy in the middle. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's crazy. It goes harder than most album covers easily. Damn, that's crazy aura.
Photograph, very neat. And because of the now numerous soldiers with guns, the shogunate suffers a humiliating defeat. 4,000 soldiers take on approximately 100,000.
Someone said to pimp a cherry blossom, +2. I'm sorry, that's a +2. That's a +2. Very well said. Very well said, dude. That's fucking...
250,000 soldiers. And they win with minimal losses. This is seen as sealing the fate
Is it because they don't have guns? Wait, I must have misheard. How did they... That's insane. I've never heard of a defeat.
4,000 soldiers take on approximately 100,000 to 150,000 soldiers. And they win with minimal...
That's crazy. Even with guns. The numbers are so staggering. That's COD Zombies level. No, that's unreal. That's unreal. Wait till Atrioc hears about 300. The 300 lost. You know that? The 300 famously lost.
Losses. This is seen as sealing the fate of the shogunate. How is the shogun ever going to recover from a loss like this? And other clans in Japan are now very anxious to make a settlement between the shogun and the emperor, because otherwise the leading figure in Japan will be neither the emperor or the shogun, but the previously unthinkable alliance between the Satsuma and Choshu clans as orchestrated by Sakamoto Ryoma. And so the clans decide to send Sakamoto Ryoma to deal with the resignation of the shogun, and he promptly resigns. The military government is gone, and the emperor is now the official ruler of Japan. After the Civil War, Sakamoto Ryoma is now a highly valued person. And inspired by the various democracies he studied, he laid down the principles about...
Much like the way weeaboos are highly valued here. It's like the best way to climb the social ladder here in America is to be as into Japan as you possibly can. And you become a high value man. All right? People want you to lead things or be, you know, the more knowledge you have about Japanese anime, One Piece is like the Bible.
Would
Yeah.
shape democracy in Japan. He wrote the first proposal for a democratic form of government, he laid down the principles of a constitution, and he became the figurehead of the modernization of Japan. And then he got assassinated.
That's unfortunate.
Because that's just what happened back then.
Hey, finally a good video. Dude, the signal to noise, the juice to squeeze ratio was crazy. 6 minutes of bangers. We got a lot in that. Who submitted that? I have to give them credit. Akira 1. Good submit. Good submission. We gained some points. Of course, it'll be submitted by a weeb, but what are you going to do? I did want to watch that video about the earned wage act. Aiden told me to watch it. It was like the More Perfect Union video about EWC apps. The apps where you can get your paycheck early. But we don't have to watch it right this second. How accountants broke the NFL. Could be interesting. Even God can't fix the relationship between China, Japan, and Korea. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm looking at. Is Cooper Flag really worth the hype? Promise you, on God, this video is just going to have a graph of other fucking first round draft picks, and then it's going to zoom out and say Cooper Flag's here. I promise you that's what the video is going to be. Why Denmark is angry with America again. Oh, there's many reasons. I tested the most terrifying investment strategy, Blue Lock. I need something good. Freakier Friday trailer reaction, 50 views. You can't be submitting this. You're polluting the first paper currency. That's kind of interesting. But the views are so low that I'm worried in 6 years that it's not. Almost 1 million on Slowly All at Once. How about that? How F1 exploded? It was the Netflix series, right? They planned it. They spent the money on it. It was smart marketing. K-pop Demon Hunters is the craziest movie. Did you guys know this is Netflix's #1 movie of all time? K-pop. Did you know that Sony made this movie, then shelved it, then sold it at bargain bin prices to Netflix, who published it years later, and it has now become their #1 movie of all time? It's crazy. It had 8 songs in the top. Yeah, I mean, it just become massive. It makes me think, there's actually like an interesting topic here, which is that it feels like pop, K-pop, and to a broader extension, pop, is firmly taking its place at the top of culture again. Hip-hop is finally slayed. It's dead. Hip-hop is done. Hip-hop is like a 20-year run, maybe more than that. Nearly a 30-year run at the top of the charts. And now hip-hop, I think, is finally been taken over by K-pop and pop. Again, I don't think it ever left. What do you mean? No, hip hop was number one. It's been number one. It's been the dominant form. I mean, you can call it pop hip hop or whatever, but it's probably since, I don't know, what would be the, I mean, I would say like the 90s. Since the 90s, hip hop was number one. Maybe late 90s. And then certainly in the 2000s, and then it was over from then. It's been hip hop. And now it feels like the cult, like young people are not as into hip hop. Hip hop is like dead for them. Not dead, but dying. Like it may come out that the Kendrick Drake beef was the last gasp of hip hop at the top of the culture. As like the big mover and shaker mover. That might be the end game. It may come out that that was the end game of what Marvel is to music. Not that it'll never sell. Obviously, it's still going to sell. It's still going to be big. I just think that that like the new up and coming artists won't be coming out of hip hop the way they were as much. I think it'll be. I have so many friends who are 2-3 years younger than me and simply don't know or care about hip hop. Yeah, I think that's. I mean, in the same way that like, you know, hip hop replaced like dad rock. Or just rock music in general. That was the biggest thing of like the 80s and 90s. 70s, 80s, 90s was rock, and then it switched into hip hop. And now it feels like it's switching into almost like a K-pop pop situation. It's not dead because nothing has replaced it for the youth. What I'm saying is I think it has. Or it's in the process of being replaced. We no longer have a monoculture. I mean, that's part of it for sure, but there's still like the best selling. New metal's biding its time. You think so? You think the 3 years of new metal from like 99 to 02 or they're just hiding and they're coming back? Maybe. Maybe. The Prince of China. What if every U.S. military branch fought for control? I guess Air Force, right? Realistically, who's stopping a bomber? Why New Zealand dominates rugby? That's kind of interesting. 1.1 million views. I mean, it'd be interesting to know why a small island is so dominant in rugby. Because you'd think population-wise they would go back up. Maybe I'll just do a refresh. Full-on refresh. Oh, it doesn't work like that? How much has the world spent on AI so far? That could be interesting. It's a lot of money. How Amazon built the Soviet dream. The United Nations seat metagame. This sounds actually very interesting if it was a 3-minute video. I don't understand why you'd need 23 minutes for this. This should be like one of those. This feels like farming ad revenue. Did the Hog Rider influence the Luka Doncic trade? This video should be 20 seconds. He caused it? I mean, we have to know. I do have to know. I'm sorry. I do have to know.
The Hog Rider from Clash Royale is directly responsible for the Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis trade.
Okay.
To explain this, let's rewind to February 2025.
Dallas Mavericks guard Luka Doncic.
Superstar Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic
Yeah.
had no idea.
Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic.
This is the worst moment in the history of my life.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
The NBA world was shaken when the Dallas Mavericks and Los Angeles Lakers pulled off a blockbuster trade, swapping Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis. This wasn't just any trade, however. This was the first time in NBA history that two reigning All-Star NBA players were exchanged mid-season.
Okay.
The deal saw the Mavericks send Luka Doncic,
Now, we're aware
Markieff
of the
Morris,
trade.
and Maxi Kleber to the Lakers, while the Mavericks received Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round draft pick, which is a 7th grader
Okay,
right
right
now.
here.
And this is where Clash Royale, specifically the Hog Rider, comes into play. Clash Royale was at its peak in the late 2010s, but let's be real, it never really left. NBA players, coaches, and executives are on their phones grinding ladder matches before
That's
making
not-
major decisions. And the one card that dominated the game in their subconscious? The Hog Rider. Now, if you know anything about Clash Royale, you know the Hog Rider is one of the most iconic cards in the game. He's fast, efficient, and gets straight to the tower without messing around. Sounds familiar?
Is the Hog Rider still in meta from Clash Royale addicts? Like, is the Hog Rider still a top tier, like, Clash Royale tier list? Updated August 2025. Oh, here's the tier list. So obviously the Barbarian Barrel is OP. Every real fan knows that. Is the Barbarian Barrel is fucking goated. However, the Ram Rider is the real. Hog Rider is a B tier unit. It's a B tier unit. And that's good. The Berserker, the Spirit Empress, power creep. Yeah, I mean, it's power creep. This list is ass. You're saying that you have a better meta list? Okay, how about this? Wait.
Starting off with
This
the
is an
worst card in the
actual,
game,
this is a Clash Royale tuber 2 weeks ago making a tier
just going
list.
straight into F tier.
We're
got
gonna find Hog Rider.
testable and
Where's
slightly
Hog
more
Rider?
versatile at the moment because of course the range. Gotta give them a little bit of credit.
Does it already pass it? I'm not gonna watch it all. Guys, I don't think the Hog Rider's S tier like you're saying is all I'm telling you. Oh, wait, it's A tier. Hog Rider right there. Wait, can we find out when he says it?
Just a solid. It's just versatile at the light match. You can run the 2.6 while running just the regular cannon.
Let's
You
hear what
don't
he
even
says.
have the evolution just because of how much value it gets for. I think he's one of the 3 elixir. The Hog Rider is going to be above the cannon. I just think he's one of the best win conditions in the game for sure. He's always so consistent no matter what the meta is. Of course, inside
There
a
we
2.6
go.
Hog X NATO, but the main deck, of course, is going to be Hog EQ with the Mighty Miner. He's just so solid, and even after the Firecracker got nerfed, I feel like you can outplay so many matchups if you play perfectly, and if you don't have a building or a tornado, he can be so difficult to deal with, and I think there's just a lot of outplay potential, which is why every meta, he's always...
Well, there you go. I stand corrected. The Hog Rider is still alive and well. It's a thinking man's unit that stood the test of time. You know what I'm saying? The Hog Rider's like, it's how you separate the men from the boys in Clash Royale. Literally my exact words, I'm dead ass, check my history. I'm scrolling up. You said it's not fully meta, but it's good in Hog EQ with Firecracker and Mighty Miner. You're correct. You called it exactly, and that's why I'm going to time you out for 3 days. To give you more time to think on your sins. Okay? This is... You're playing too much Clash Royale. Okay. Well, I didn't find the end. I didn't find out how it.
That's Anthony Davis's playstyle to a T. The guy is a high-speed offensive force, dunking, blocking, and running the floor like a madman. If the Mavericks front office was obsessed with the Hog Rider, it's no wonder they made a move for a player that resembled him. Meanwhile, Luka Doncic, he plays more like a Mega Knight, methodical, calculated, and capable of devastating his opponents with well-timed attacks. But here's the thing, Mega Knight costs a lot of elixir. He's powerful, but he needs the right support to thrive.
No, for
and with beasts
sure.
like Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington on the team, the Mavericks might have seen Luka as too high elixir to fit in their system. So when it came to decide whether to keep Davis or make a move for Doncic, the choice was obvious for anyone under the influence of Clash Royale logic. The Mavericks figured they don't need a slow, high elixir player when they can get a low
He's not fat.
high damage Hog Rider. Meanwhile, the Lakers were thinking the opposite. They had already built their deck around Anthony Davis, but after years of early playoff exits and internal issues, they decided it was time to switch up their strategy. Maybe they felt like they were playing too spammy and needed a more strong win condition. It's only been a few weeks since the trade.
I get it. Very incredible. That's a good analysis, to be honest. That was a good analysis. That was a good analysis. And it does make, and I do think the Hog Rider had something to do with it. I do think the Hog Rider had something to do with it. The most badass driver of all time is Max Verstappen. He's badass. I know he always wins. Is he badass, though? He is. He's not. Clearly some divisive. Pushing beyond 15,000 trophies with 2.6 hog cycle. I don't... You've misjudged how interested I am in the meta of Hog Rider. I wanted to know if he was good. I don't want to watch someone use the Hog 2.6 to get more trophies. That's not... Whoa, this looks good. Famous historical events that never actually happened? Well, this is going to wait.
Famous historical event.
This is actually a pretty interesting idea. I want to know things that didn't happen. Things that we often repeat. But I have to pee. I got to pee. Hog Rider! I did get some applesauce. I'll be honest with you. I did. I won't lie about it. Thank you for the 3 months, Cooper the Buck. Why does everyone say I peed so loud? Are you actually hearing it, or is it like a joke? There's no way you're actually hearing me pee from that far away. I heard that shit in Dolby Atmos. You put on the good headphones, cranked it up, fucking got surround sound. You're a fucking psycho. All right, well, I'll be sure to... there's 2 doors in between. That's crazy if you can actually hear it. I have to watch the... I can't trust you guys. You're probably lying. He aimed straight for the water, SMH. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to aim for the water when you pee. No, you don't aim for the side of the bowl. It increases your chance of splash. Okay? Dude's never peed before. Splash damage is OP. Aim for the edge. Try to get a trick shot. Yes, stop talking about pee. I'm trying to eat my applesauce. Let's hear about famous historical events. Okay?
That
didn't actually happen.
Actually happened. All right, this is a big one. Einstein failing.
I'm sorry, someone said you got to pee through the legs. What does that mean? How is that possible? How would you be able to pee through the legs? Like reverse it? Like you turn around, ass facing the bowl, and then... Why? You're not getting points. That just seems messy, bro. It's called a trick shot? All right. Good for you, I guess. Let's hear about this, okay, Einstein.
Math in high school.
We haven't gotten
this trope has been used by underachievers since the middle of the 20th century to excuse...
Einstein did not fail math in high school? I thought that was true. I didn't think it was because he was bad at math. I thought maybe he was too good or something, but I thought he did fail math.
Use their crappy grades. Hey mom, you should be happy with that D I got in math. Even Einstein failed math. You could even say I'm smarter than Einstein. Hate to break it to you, but it's not true. You better get used to making those fries. Einstein was a mathematical genius, pretty much from the jump. By age 12, he was studying algebra and geometry on his own, and by 14 or 15, he was already delving into calculus, several years ahead of most of his peers. The struggles that he did have in school were with subjects that required rigid rote-style learning, like history and French.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Sure the myth originated.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. I thought he failed math class because he was way ahead, or like it was too boring for him, so he didn't do any of the work. But man, I guess I'm wrong. In my mind, that was true, but I guess it's not.
Exactly. But the best theory suggests that it came from the fact that Einstein went to school in Switzerland, and the Swiss use a grading system from 1 to 6, with 6 being the best grade and 1 being the worst. And that was the opposite of the rest of Europe, where 1 was the top grade. Einstein himself even addressed this myth in an article in the Times magazine. When shown a clipping claiming he had failed math, he reportedly laughed and said, "I have never failed in mathematics. Before I was 15, I had mastered differential and integral calculus." Terrible news for the slackers. In the US...
Okay, don't brag so much, Einstein. Jesus Christ. Have some humility. I didn't know Einstein was so arrogant, dude. I was on the same pace as Einstein, but I became a Twitch viewer instead. So you mastered calculus by an early age, but then decided instead of inventing new theorems, you would watch my channel. So you're saying if you don't invent anything great in your life, it's my fault. And you would be the next Einstein if it wasn't for me polluting your brain with... Well, that's what I'm doing Get Smarter Saturday. I'm trying to get you back on track.
School children are taught from an early age that the courageous Christopher Columbus set off on an epic journey to prove that the Earth was round and not flat. Cool story, but completely inaccurate. In reality, Columbus had the idea in his head that the Atlantic Ocean was much smaller than was commonly thought, and that he could sail east on the Atlantic and find a shortcut to Asia. In fairness to Chris, people had only known the Earth was round for about 2,000 years. As early as the 6th century BCE, Greek philosophers like Pythagoras speculated that the Earth was round, and later in the 4th century BCE, Aristotle noted that the Earth casts a round shadow on the moon during a lunar eclipse.
Okay,
and that the travelers going south see new constellations rise in the sky, both of which are consistent with a spherical planet. And in the 3rd century BCE, the Greek mathematician Eratosthenes calculated the Earth's circumference with remarkable accuracy using
he was
simple
the GOAT.
geometry. His estimate was around 25,000. Pretty good guess, since the real number is roughly 24,901 miles.
That's pretty incredible.
And given that he was using pretty much just sticks, that is insanely impressive. So what did Chris actually prove? Mainly, he proved that when it came to guessing the size of the Atlantic Ocean or how to get to Asia, he pretty much sucked. Although technically you could get to Asia by sailing east from Spain.
I don't understand, like, Christopher Columbus just like, what gave him the impression, on no evidence at all, that it was actually not that far to get to Asia from Spain? Like, why did he? What vibes made him think it was smaller than he thought? Unironically, just vibes. That's just crazy. Be like, yeah, we're gonna just get in this boat and sail for months off of vibes. The wave spoke to
Your
him.
path is going to be going through North, South, and Central America. The scholars of the day theorized the ship couldn't take enough supplies to make the journey. Had Columbus not landed on Cuba, there's no question that he and his crew would have run out of supplies a long time before they got to Asia. From the time they enter grade school, American children are taught about 6-year-old George Washington.
So you carry enough supplies, right, for a certain number of days. Let's say you have 300 days worth of supplies. After day 150, if you're still sailing, now you don't have enough supplies to get back. Do you just turn around, or do you keep listening to Christopher Columbus and try to bank it? Like, yeah, now you're getting desperate. Now it's all in. Get supplies when you land, but you don't know when you're going to land. You don't know how far it is. Run it, playa. Everyone in chat that's spamming run it, playa, let's fucking go. If it was real life on the boat, you'd be like, I'm hungry. Chris, I'm hungry. Why don't we turn back? I'm hungry. This is a dumb idea. Like, none of you would actually live by your principles, bro. You would be so, I'm fucking hungry.
Receiving an axe as a gift, and then going out and chopping down his father's cherry tree. When his father asked who did it, because, yeah, apparently seeing a 6-year-old boy holding a hatchet that was dripping with cherry tree sap wasn't enough of a clue, young George replied, I cannot tell a lie. You know I cannot tell a lie. I did cut it with my hatchet, and instead of getting angry...
I love this story, because the idea that a parent would come home, see their kid holding an axe, see a tree chopped down, and the kid would think he could lie their way out of it. It's like, even if this were true, it's not that impressive. It's not, there's no, you're caught red-handed. They got you. Whether you lie or not, you're caught. You might as well, it's not like this brilliant moment of truth.
His father gave him such a big old hug and told George how proud he was to have an honest son. Before we get to how this story isn't true at all, can we start with the obvious question?
Say that?
Namely, who in the hell gives an axe to a 6-year-old child? I know gift options were a lot more limited back then. No video games, no Hot Wheels. But an axe? What did the grandfather of America think was gonna happen? Anyway, this whole cherry tree thing wasn't told as a true story, but as a simple way to create basically a fable. Since the USA was a young nation, there was a desire in those early days to transform from historical individuals into almost mythical heroes. And who better to go all mythy on than the leader of the Continental Army and the first president? The cherry tree story first appeared in a book written by Mason Locke Weems in 1800, just a year after Washington.
That's crazy how long that has stuck around and become part of American folklore. Just based off someone ripping it. It's like, this guy called his shot. I'm going to make a fable that becomes part of American society. And he just did it. This is Jason the Ween's grandpa. It's correct.
Washington's death. And the first clue that the story was BS? This was the 5th edition of the book, but the first time the cherry tree was mentioned. Anyway, yeah, just crazy how it got so popular. The Chicago Fire. The Great Chicago Fire of 1871 is one of the most infamous disasters in American history, taking over 300 lives and leaving over 100,000 residents homeless. And if you remember hearing about the fire, it's almost certainly because you know the story of Mrs. O'Leary's cow knocking over a lantern and kicking off the whole shebang. And since buildings in the 1800s were mainly constructed of dry wood and oily rags, it didn't take long for the bovine blaze to grow. eventually jumping the Chicago River and destroying much of downtown Chicago. And how did the cow get the blame for this horrific event? Well, by now you may not be surprised to find out it was completely made up by an unscrupulous newspaper reporter who was looking for clicks. Or, as they called it back then, selling newspapers.
Fake news.
The story had 4 of the things that Americans hated the most. Mrs. O'Leary was poor, she was Irish, she was Catholic, and last of all, she was a woman. People were looking for a convenient...
There's this big disastrous fire. Everyone's kind of pissed off. How can we blame it on a poor Irish Catholic woman? That's awesome. That's awesome. Really her cow, though.
Scapegoat, and Catherine O'Leary checked all the boxes. The story's main promoter was a journalist named Michael Ahern, who later admitted that he made up the whole cow kicking the lantern detail to spice up his report. But that admission was too little too late, because the cow story had already taken hold and started to grow some seriously deep roots.
Yeah.
Many investigations were done in the following years, but the exact cause could never be determined. They did establish that the fire began near or in the O'Leary's barn, but there is no solid evidence that Catherine O'Leary or her cow had anything to do with it.
Wait.
Catherine always said that she was...
So it did start near her barn. It's not even that fake, bro. In fact, it sounds like she did it and the cow wasn't at fault. Those damn Irish Catholic women are always starting fires. Atrioc, you were there? No, I mean, yeah, I was in Chicago at that time. But I was pissed drunk. And I just stumbled into somebody's farm and I started lighting cigarettes. So it couldn't have been me. Okay? I was busy smoking and then tossing out.
In bed when the fire started. For all we know, it could have been careless smoking by a goat or a grease fire in the kitchen by one of the pigs. Over time, historians have come up with a couple of pretty solid theories about the fire. Refreshingly, neither theory involves any sort of farm animal. First, maybe neighborhood boys started it while sneaking a cigarette. That makes sense, because in the 1870s, all those 8-year-old boys wanted to do after a grueling 12-hour workday in the factory was come back home and enjoy a nice, relaxing cigarette. The other theory sounds a little bit wacky, but it's plausible. A meteor shower could have sparked fires across the region, in Michigan and Wisconsin. Unlike a lot of completely made-up myths, the story of Isaac Newton and the apple has a tiny bit of truth to it. The story we've all heard is that Newton's lounging in his garden, sometime in the 1660s. Suddenly an apple falls, bonks him in the head, and voila! Newton immediately had the fully formed universal law of gravitation ready to publish. The truth is, as Newton said later in life, he was sitting in his garden after dinner, drinking tea underneath an apple tree. When he saw an apple fall to the ground, he began to think about the force that made the apple fall straight down, not side to side and not at an angle. But it wasn't a eureka moment. It was just one step on a journey that would take over 20 years and culminate with the publication of his Principia Mathematica in 1687. There was a lot more to it than getting smacked by an apple. Nero. Everyone's seen some variation of Nero, the crazed Roman emperor, wildly fiddling as you watch Rome.
That one seems pretty true then. I mean, I don't think anyone actually thought that he wrote it all down instantly. It was like that it inspired. That one seems like roughly true. You did? You thought he shouted, Eureka, I've got it. By the way, why does it take 20 years? Like, I see something fall and I go, okay, that's gravity. Done. That's done. You know, I just get it. I guess I just get it quicker than fucking...
Burn. It's an image that's seared in our brains, and the expression can be heard even today. But there are a couple reasons why we know this powerful image is...
Isaac Newton low-key slow. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, I don't want to call him out, but it feels like it kind of took him longer than the rest of us. Like, I feel like we all knew about gravity before age 20. We were able to figure it out pretty fucking quick. Okay? And Isaac Newton took a long time as an adult. It just feels a little bit...
completely made up. First of all, the fire that destroyed about 2/3 of Rome happened in 64 CE, roughly 1,000 years before the violin was invented. If you were playing anything, he likely would have been playing a kithara, kind of lyre. And if he had been playing it that day, he would have been playing it at his villa in Antium, since most historians agree he wasn't even in Rome when the fire started. The earliest and most detailed accounts of the fire come from Roman historians Tacitus, Suetonius, and Cassius Dio. All three of them wrote long after Nero's death, and their writing reflects a mixture of facts, hearsay, and moral judgment. Tacitus, writing about 50 years after the death of the emperor, reports on the rumors at the time that Nero started the fire to clear the way for a huge palace. At the same time, he notes that Nero wasn't even in Rome at the time, and when he got word of the fire, quickly came back to Rome to coordinate relief efforts, and opened his palaces.
Even the most insane emperor would not burn down 2/3 of the city to make room for a big palace. What kind of palace is big enough to cover 2/3 of the city? You put the rest of the city in 1/3? No, not even Donald Trump. Jerome Powell would? I guess he does want a big palace.
Refugees, and arrange food supplies. It even seems like tales of Nero's exploits have been exaggerated for effect, because he was a very unconventional ruler who acted on stage, raced chariots, and fancied himself a musician.
I'm sorry. One person would do this, but he wasn't alive at the time, and it's Dan Clancy. Dan Clancy not only would do this, he did do this in Clancyville. He does 2/3 of Clancyville is just, it's a city 10 million strong, and they all live in a 1/3 slum, really, while Clancy's villa is enormous. So I guess there's some truth that it could happen, but it seems pretty rare.
All scandalous for a Roman emperor. His supposed performance during the fire was probably meant to be symbolic. The narrative,
the Clancy villa,
caught fire because it fit the existing stereotype of a decadent ruler more interested in art than duty.
If you will.
Marie Antoinette.
Yeah,
many factors contributed to the French Revolution, but the reports of Marie Antoinette responding with "let them eat cake" when she was told the peasants were out of bread did not help. It summed up the attitude of the aristocracy and showed them to be completely out of touch with the common citizens. There's just one tiny problem.
What did she actually say?
She almost definitely did not say it.
Almost?
The actual phrase shown here, which literally means "let them eat brioche," was first seen in this book. In this book, Rousseau recounts an anecdote about a great princess who, upon hearing that the peasants had no bread, said they could eat brioche instead. The problem is, in 1767, Marie was still living in Austria, and she was 12 years old. The quote is probably about an entirely different figure, maybe Maria Theresa of Spain or another 18th century royal. Marie was known for her extravagant lifestyle and was called Madame Deficit because her spending occurred at a time when France was seriously in debt. Making a scapegoat of Marie was a lot easier than dealing with the real causes like war debts and a broken tax system. There's also a chance she got a pretty bad rap because
our country's in debt because women be shopping. France is ruined because women be shopping, dude. Madame Deficit is very funny. Very funny.
While she did have a pretty bougie lifestyle, that was kind of expected from the actual queen of a major country. But she also engaged in acts of charity and showed concern for the welfare of not just her children, but also the poor. She donated to orphanages, patronized hospitals, and even tried to reform the court's extravagances. And in the end, none of that mattered. You could argue that "let them eat cake" was one of the first memes, and like a lot of memes out there today, it didn't matter if it was true or not, it only mattered that a huge number of people believed it. Unlike most modern day memes, this one had real consequences, especially for Marie and her husband. They woke up in the morning with their heads firmly attached to their bodies and ended the day with their heads in a basket.
That's an L.
The War of Worlds broadcast. On October 30th, 1938,
this isn't true?
People who tuned into CBS radio heard something that they were not expecting.
Wait, I don't even want to hear about it. This is true. This is a funny story. I wanted to keep this in my mind. I didn't know this wasn't true. The truth's going to ruin my life. You never heard of this? I thought this was like a real true story that people got fooled. Oh, man.
An invasion from Mars. Although if you tuned in at the beginning, you heard a disclaimer from the young director of the Mercury Theater, Orson Welles, telling everyone that this was just an adaptation of his novel, The War of Worlds. They also announced it about halfway through, but by that time, people were too busy crowding the roads trying to escape or jumping out of windows, because they obviously didn't want to fight the aliens. At least that's what the newspapers wanted you to believe. Welles, who was just 23 at the time, was the creative force behind the Mercury Theater on the Air, a weekly dramatic radio program. He wanted to do a modernized version of the War of the Worlds,
the original streamer,
showing it as a series of live news bulletins interrupting regular programming. The reports became more and more frantic as they reported on explosions from Mars, a strange cylinder found in New Jersey, and finally increasing death and destruction as the invaders made their way across New Jersey, unleashing death rays and poison gas. In fairness, that doesn't sound too different from modern-day New Jersey. It's been pointed out this was far from something that everyone was listening to. Most estimates place the War of the Worlds audience at under 1 million listeners, which is a fraction of the country's population. So why did the newspapers exaggerate the response and how many people were freaking out? We can sum it up in one word: fear. The newspaper owners figured that if they could show how radio inflamed listeners and caused unnecessary panic, people would stop listening and come back to the newspapers. That was a pretty funny theory, considering it did exactly the opposite. And if you think about it, that was very ironic. The media is trying to freak people out with half-truths and fake news just to get more engagement. Sure is lucky we don't fall for that kind of stuff anymore. Anyway, it's time to talk about Jesus. Before we talk about Jesus,
what is this graph meant to show? This isn't even labeled. This just shows that as the years go up, the number goes up. The number of what? Number of lies? So we only had 550 lies in 2022? What does this mean? I don't know, but it's provocative.
Anymore. Anyway, it's time to talk about Jesus. Before we talk about Jesus likely not being born on December 25th, rest assured, you can still sing carols, wear ugly sweaters, and totally burn your coworkers in the White Elephant gift exchange. And you can still do all those things in December. But if you want to change your Christmas celebration to spring or late fall, I'm not here to judge. Bible scholars have long debated the exact date of Jesus' birth. For a book that isn't shy about voicing an opinion on just about everything, it's remarkably silent about when the main character was born. Well, at least the main character who shows up in the second act. The Gospels of Matthew and Luke, which are the only ones that talk about Jesus' birth, don't...
Is there hard evidence that Jesus was a real person? That a person actually lived named Jesus? Is that... Let's find out. Let's find out. Because I honestly can't trust chat. Was Jesus a real person? The overwhelming consensus among historians is that Jesus of Nazareth was a real historical person who lived in the first century and was really crucified by the Romans. There's both Christian and non-Christian sources that refer to him, including writings by Roman historians like Tacitus. Okay, and Jewish historian Josephus. Okay, seems like he was real. I thought I hallucinated him when I got really high that one time. In 1 BC. The OG chiller?
You can mention a month or a date or a season, but here's what they do say. Luke mentions that shepherds were in the fields tending their flocks at night when the angel announced Jesus' birth. But December would have been a weird time for shepherds to be out with their flocks. It was cold, the footing was often treacherous, and that was typically a time where the sheep would likely be under the cover of winter or sheepfolds. Of course, because it's religion, not everyone agrees. The Eastern Orthodox Church celebrated on January 6th, and others celebrated in the spring or fall, like March 25th, April 6th, or like September. So why the 25th? Well, the kids are out of school, travel's often treacherous, and everyone looks better in a sweater. Or another explanation is that the Christians and Roman Emperor Constantine kind of borrowed the date from two very popular pagan holidays.
Yeah, they just took the pagan holidays, right?
Which honored the sun god and took place around the winter solstice, and Saturnalia, a week-long festival of gift-giving, feasting, and general debauchery that ended around December 23rd. And by repurposing those holidays, they hope to convert some more people to the cause and celebrate the Son of God instead of the sun. The Salem Witch Trials. When people think of the Salem Witch Trials, the image that's most likely to come to mind is some unfortunate woman tied to a stake with the flames growing higher and higher as the bloodthirsty crowd roars with approval. Even though the US wasn't officially a country yet, this chapter in their history was a black mark for the colonies and served to show what happens when rumor, hysteria, and religious fervor are allowed to spread like wildfire among the population.
That's why we stopped it.
Maybe a bit too soon for that one. It all started when several young girls began exhibiting strange, convulsive behavior. They claimed they were being tormented by witches. The girls accused local women of practicing witchcraft, and panic spread like wildfire.
Okay.
Last one, I promise. And soon the courts were overwhelmed with cases. And when we're talking about hysteria, it was go big.
Was this like... Is this like some cattiness? Was this some girls bullying another girl by saying she was a witch? Okay.
Go home in Salem. From February 1692 to May 1693, 200 people were accused of witchcraft, 30 were convicted, and 20 were executed. But here's the surprising part. No one was burned at the stake. That was more of a European punishment. Think Joan of Arc. But unlike the Beatles or Rolling Stones, it never really caught on in the US.
Okay.
So in a real good news, bad news situation, the convicted witches were still executed. They just did it by hanging instead. Well, 19 of the 20 were hanged. The 20th was a man named Miles Corey, who was pressed to death with heavy stones.
He
for
was a
refusing to enter
witch?
a plea. You gotta admit, what the Puritans lacked in fairness and common sense, they made up for in coming up with unique and especially sadistic punishments. So why is Salem associated with the burning of witches? As we talked about earlier, burning was big in places like Germany, Scotland, and France. Thousands of people, mainly women, were burned at the stake during the 15th through 17th centuries after being accused of witchcraft. One place where that didn't happen was England. The Brits preferred hanging because, you know, they're classy like that.
Yeah.
The tradition became jumbled with
Why
the
would
story
they
of
have
Salem.
cowboy hats?
Later generations began to assume that the notorious witch trials in New England must have followed the same gruesome rituals. And then pop culture grabbed hold. Films, books, plays, and even Halloween decorations. All picturing scenes of women in colonial garb being tied to stakes and set ablaze. Yep. Paul Revere time. Paul Revere wore a lot of hats.
Not
Well,
real?
He probably just wore that one tricorn hat, but he had a lot of different jobs. Revere was a silversmith, engraver, and big-time patriot who was part of the Sons of Liberty. The group you may remember from a little thing called the Boston Tea Party.
Yeah.
And on the night of April 18th, 1775, Revere was tasked with riding from Boston to Lexington. His job was to warn Samuel Adams and John Hancock that British troops were marching to arrest them and to seize military supplies stockpiled by colonial militias.
Okay.
But Paul wasn't the only rider who had that job. William Dawes was given a different route out of Boston a little earlier than Revere, in case one of them was captured.
Okay.
Once they met up in Lexington by Dr. Samuel Prescott, a local physician who just happened to be out late visiting his fiancée. And shortly after they met up, the trio encountered a British patrol. Dawes escaped, but was forced to abandon his horse and walk back. Paul was
Okay.
interrogated and released, also without his horse. In fact, only the doctor was the one who made it through.
Oh, he didn't
So
have a
why do we
horse.
only know about Paul Revere? We have Washington Irving to thank for that. In 1861, on the eve of the Civil War, the poet wanted to fire up the country and inspire unity and patriotism. His poem began, "Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere." What's not to love? It's catchy, it rhymes, and it sounds a lot better than "Listen, my children, and try not to talk. I'll tell you the story of the doc." Catherine the Great. Throughout history,
Okay,
readers have
wait.
met with
But so it did happen. It just was more than one person. Like, yeah, it was a real event. Okay. It just had more than one rider. Well, that's fine. You know? That's fine. Paul Revere was probably the Chad of the group anyway. He was kind of like the hog rider of his day.
some untimely and bizarre deaths, but it would be hard to top the story of the demise of Catherine the Great of Russia. You might know what I'm talking about. The story of how Catherine met her demise while attempting to build a more intimate relationship with a horse.
What?
One of the most popular accounts describes her as lying on a platform and then the horse slipped and she was crushed to death. By the way, if you've never heard the story, I'm sorry for giving you the visual. That will be in your head forever. But here's the deal. It never happened. Horses are known for their stability, and it would be very unlikely to just slip. I'm joking, that's not the ridiculous part. She actually died of a stroke at age 67 while on the toilet, just like Elvis. Thank you. Thank you very much. So where did this story of horse-related death start? It's actually just a story as old as time. Pissed off white guys who were jealous of her success as Empress of Russia. She took over after her husband, Peter III, was deposed in the coup. She ruled for 35 years and was known for her forward thinking. She was a huge factor in modernizing Russia. But this was
they just called her horse fucker. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Also a time when women were expected to be modest, obedient, and domestic. And Catherine was none of those things. She thought for herself, wouldn't back down, and worst of all, was very open with her sexuality and had numerous partners. In other words, she was a huge threat to the patriarchy, and the myth was created to punish her, even after her death, transforming her reputation as a respected monarch into that of a grotesque figure of ridicule. This myth kind of shows a familiar pattern in which powerful women are often demonized.
Interesting.
Cleopatra, Mary Queen of Scots, Marie Antoinette, and many others have been subjected to pretty similar rumors. Anyway, if you like this video...
Interesting. Maybe that's why you guys say glizzy hands about me. You know, it's like you feel like I'm a threat to the patriarchy. Like I'm trying to upend things and change the world, and you guys are you're just making up this glizzy hand story to try and bring me down. You're a threat to the patriarchy in a way. That was pretty good. That wasn't bad at all. This title. How I'd obliterate, all caps, the blue freaks from Avatar. I don't want to watch the whole thing, but I just want to see
On this episode of Bureau Files, you will become one with nature. I am one with nature. The year is 2154. You just got out of cryo sleep, a 6-year-long slumber. You're about to hit the floor of Pandora and face off against the jungle that wants to kill you. Out there beyond the wire, everything that flies, crawls, squats in the mud wants to kill you and eat your eyes for jujubes. Gentlemen, I noticed in Pandora that the advanced human civilization that managed to fare the ever unforgiving environment that is space, travel for 6 years, got defeated by a bunch of natives that were in touch with nature and used bows, which I'm a big fan of archery, so it's kind of sick. Now, I was thinking to myself, there's a problem here because the humans shouldn't have lost, and I, as a human myself, wanted to take it upon myself to win. Now, this video serves as entertainment. Whether you're on the toilet watching this, maybe you're drinking some coffee or eating some beer, I appreciate you tuning into Bureau Files. My name is Aaron, and today we are going to dissect how we can win on Pandora, because humans deserve to be masters of all of whatever. Because humans deserve to be masters of all the known universe. You heard it from me, folks.
I don't drink coffee.
Now, of course, some quick context about the movie Avatar. James Cameron dropped the bombshell 2009.
I don't want the
context. He wanted to even make the movie
I don't want the
earlier,
context.
but the CGI technology was not quite for me. Even back in 2009, as a very young teenager, I was on Team Human when I watched this movie. I saw a lot of people that looked like me that needed good jobs and stability because back home, the corporate world, or whatever aspect they came from there, probably sucked. So they're getting a sick opportunity to advance their careers on a new planet. And the mercenaries there really resonated with me because at that time, my brothers were in the global war on terror. So it was kind of like looking at my older brothers that were off in a foreign land fighting a foreign foe. And so I felt this connection to the humans. And above all, I want to make sure that those corporate shareholders are happy. Buddy, I'm a capitalist. You gotta make sure the shareholders can buy a third yacht. Now, my big problem and my big complaint with the movie would be the tactics used by the humans. Over the climactic battle. The movie takes place in the year 2154. Do you know what other movie takes place in the year 2154? If you said Elysium, you're correct. Matt Damon running around LA trying to fight a South African mercenary. That movie takes place in 2154. Are they possibly in the same universe? Food for thought. Now, the tactics they used in that assault pretty much looks like tactics from the year 1917. A low-flying bombing campaign into hostile territory. What the heck, man? They literally have a space shuttle. Not just one, but 2 space shuttles. They showed up in a spaceship, and they're going to do a low-level bombing campaign with primitive explosives? What are we doing here? Guys, what are we doing here? Now, as much as I do like and typically agree with the grain warmonger physiognomy, I will say that the Colonel made a bad call here. I was curious and thought, why are there no, say, cruise missiles? You know, a missile where you can launch something from a safe distance away, it flies over there and it blows up your target. How come they don't have like a death ray satellite up there? We have death ray lasers already. Look at Hawaii, allegedly. The blue roofs were okay. I even thought about why no like futuristic.
I don't care. I actually just don't care. You're just rambling about it. I just don't. It doesn't, like, I'm not hooked. I'm not hooked. Was Jesus real and it's Jesus holding a gun? Are Kraft singles actually cheese? I assume so. What really killed Sri Lanka's economy? Smallville theme song banger? Dude, I saw this. Chinese man loses in chess, then analyzes game for 4 hours in the rain. And like his wife comes out. I mean, it's Go, not chess, but it's so funny. That's so... Oh, it's Chinese chess. I'm sorry. Chinese chess. Shogi. Okay. His wife tried to take him home, but he refused to leave. Dude, that's crazy. That's not love. Don't say it like it's just love for chess. That is a deep, like, internal psychological... There's a problem. There's an obsession. There's like a tilt. There's like a... Big after I do review my VODs after losing a game. That's the best thing you can do to get better. But 4 hours is a little extreme. Hera after losing blows versus blows. Yeah, I bet he was furious. I bet Hera seethed. And he sat down and watched the replay again and again and again till late into the night, wondering how the fuck Ludwig could have bested him. How the government tricked 2 YouTubers into killing a man in public. I'm not going to watch that, but there's got to be more to the story. The government tricked YouTubers into killing a man in public? Why Egypt can't afford its new capital city? The Dying Art of Call of Duty montages, a 42-minute video. Dude, a 42-minute epic on the dying art of Call of Duty montages. Are food dyes worth banning? Chinese chess explained. All right, I think I'm going to watch the video that Aiden wanted me to watch. Nobody's posted it here, but I can find it. Why is no one playing Fizz anymore? And it says useless champion. Fucking haters and fakes, bro. Haters and fakes. Let's see if I can. It is a video about
the American
earned wage access, the new app.
and families that are a simple root canal away from financial disaster.
More American families are drowning in debt.
U.S. household debt now at $17.94 trillion.
Okay.
Renita
So
is
Aiden I mean, I kind of know what's in this video. First of all, because I think we discussed earned wage access apps from Walmart over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago on Marketing Monday. But then also Aiden described this video to me on the Patreon of Lemonade Stand. He basically described beat by beat the video. It's going to come out on Monday. So I think there's something I can learn since he didn't have any graphs with him.
One of the 60% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. She works full-time to provide for her 4-year-old son. He has a developmental disorder, so he has therapy 4 times a week and needs extra care in general.
Sad.
If you're in a single income household like mine, the odds are kind of stacked against you at that point.
These days, when Renita is short on cash, she's been using Earnin, one of these new banking apps that call themselves Earned Wage Access. And they've got a pretty appealing pitch.
Did you go to work today? Probably. Did you get paid for the work you did today? Probably not. You won't see that money till Friday, right?
Stop waiting for payday. With Earnin, you can get paid as you work.
I can get you up to $500 of your future money now.
I just partnered up with Dave.
They've got ads with celebs.
Just a general rule of thumb. This is a general rule of thumb, man. If there's like a teddy bear telling you how you're going to make money, don't trust it. That's a good basic rule of thumb. When a teddy bear or Jason Derulo tells you there's a great way to make
like
money.
Jason Derulo and flashy investors like Mark Cuban. They've got Democratic lawmaker support and lobbyists who sound like Bernie Sanders.
Cost of living has skyrocketed across the country.
2/3 of Americans live paycheck to paycheck.
Paycheck to paycheck.
Paycheck to paycheck.
They say they're fighting for the underdogs, like David slaying Goliath. Goliath being
Bro, if you guys don't know, these apps let you get your paycheck early, usually with a fee. We're spoiling a little bit, but that's what they do. But the idea that like people are living paycheck to paycheck, so the way we save them is letting them get them paychecks in between their paychecks. The reason they're living paycheck to paycheck is because their total wages for the year don't add up to the cost of things. It's not the timing. It's not a problem with like, I don't have it on this day. The problem is that they're not paid overall enough.
Big banks. But people who have actually used these apps have a different take.
That should be illegal.
I feel deceived by it. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane.
You deserve
this
to
is
get
not some
paid every day.
scrappy fintech startup scene. This is a industry that's backed by billionaires like Larry Ellison and Mark Andreessen to make profits off people who are struggling.
Today,
How is this different from payday loans is a great question. And the answer is that it's named differently. How is buy now, pay later different than debt, different than credit cards? It's a good question.
I'm going to show you how EWA apps can make life feel like a series of traps. And even if you don't use these apps, they could affect you too. Because with the help of lawmakers and the nation's largest employers, Earned Wage Access is perpetuating some of the most unstable parts of our economic system. And with one wrong move, the whole thing could collapse.
Wow, that was a nice setup.
Here's how it works. Runita has connected her bank account to Earnin.
If I want to borrow money, it tells me like how much I can cash out.
In Earnin language, that amount is her earnings, and it's determined by an algorithm.
You spin the little wheel and then you choose to transfer out.
Wait, what's that?
So, yeah, it says tip what you think is fair. So they're asking for a tip.
Do you ever?
No, I do not.
What do you think? What do you think about this app asking you for a tip?
The audacity. I'm here to borrow money. I don't have any to give you.
Right. Okay.
Dude, asking for a tip is so funny. We were talking about it in the pod, but it's like, you know, even in the most egregious tips in real life, there's at least a human there to spin the iPad around. But the idea that they're going to ask somebody to tip remotely for a fucking payday loan service, The idea that you're so desperate for money now that you're going to be pulling from your future paycheck and that you're going to tip them for that is just awesome. It's just awesome, dude. It's just an awesome, audacious.
Surely nobody tips their banking app, right? But the data shows that the apps receive tips 73% of the time. This is because they're very manipulative.
It's like a dark pattern.
At one point, Earnin made you...
Everyone's saying WTF, but it's like they make it so it's a default. The tip is a default, and you're like hitting next, or whatever. And then it just pulls it through out of the...
Click 13 times to opt out of tipping. And the Dave app messes with your emotions, telling you your tip is going towards helping hungry children.
That's crazy.
As you decrease the tip amount, you make the little animated child sad by taking her food away. But an FTC investigation found that for each percentage point of a tip...
She gets sad? She's not sad. She's like... Having the raised eyebrow, like, huh? Only 10%, huh? Dude, I need that. If you only gift one sub, this girl should pop up and be like, only one, huh? Only one gifted sub. Atrioc, how much Uber Eats will Atrioc be able to afford with only one gifted sub? How's that? He's going to be... How much applesauce is he going to have in his refrigerator? That's so funny. I don't understand your hate for credit cards, TBH. If you pay your balance in full, it's literally free points again. Bro, I am aware, bro. You think I don't understand the mechanics? Yes, if you can pay your balance in full, buy now, pay later is fine. Credit cards are fine. Everything's fine. If you have the money, there's no problem. Okay? But do you think that perhaps the billions and billions of dollars they make every year off credit cards and off buy now, pay later is because they know that most people won't have the money? That's the point. The point is the profit they make from knowing you won't have the money. And being Bill doesn't give you points.
But an FTC investigation found that for each percentage point of a tip, Dave only donates 10 cents. So if I tip 10% on a $100 advance, my tip is $10, but only $1 of that is going towards feeding hungry kids.
Well, no, that's why she's raising her eyebrow. That's why she's like, I can't really eat a lot off $1.
That's not enough for 10 healthy meals, and the other $9, those Dave pockets. In SEC filings, Dave reported making $68 million from tips last year.
That's so crazy.
And according to Earnin,
about 40% of our revenue is tips.
So 0 tip, and
you gotta the same wheel.
Select
yeah.
0.
So after opting out of tipping a banking algorithm, Runita has two options.
It's just an app that gives someone access to their own money early. That's fucking funny.
To receive her cash. If she selects this free version, the money could take a day or two to hit her bank account. With the lightning speed option, she can get it right away, but there's a transaction fee between $4 and $6.
And then once
Gotcha
you click
mechanics.
that, then
Yep,
the transaction.
that completes it. Yep.
The next time Runita gets her paycheck, Earnin automatically takes back the money she withdrew plus any fees. So when I heard this, I was kind of like, okay, this just sounds like a payday loan where you borrow a few $100s and pay it back with your next paycheck, with lots of interest, of course.
Yeah.
What are the interest rates? There. Damn, I thought that was the year of establishment.
But all of the EWA app users I talked to said they would never consider taking out a payday loan.
I grew up seeing people use them, and the energy is already kind of like down feels kind of loan sharky.
Yeah.
They're always in buildings that are not well
It's very
kept.
seedy.
Abandoned shopping malls.
The apps, on the other hand, have bright colors and clean design. You can download them right from Apple's App Store and on Google Play. That's gotta mean something, right? They're sending you puppy videos on Snapchat, they've got cuddly mascots, and they've got paid influencers on Instagram and TikTok that reassure you that it's totally not alone because
no late fees, no credit checks, and no interest.
It's your own money, just earlier.
And if you don't see their ads on social media or TV, you may see them at work.
It was in the teacher's bathroom, next to the OSHA signs.
Lee saw an ad for an app called Daily Pay at the school they worked at in Kansas. Daily Pay is one of the EWA companies that partners with big corporations like Amazon, Target, and McDonald's to offer paycheck advances as a benefit, like PTO or health insurance. So Lee signed up.
Yeah, I mean, so we talked about this on Marketing Monday a few years back, but it was through the context of Walmart, which is their app InstaPay. And the thing is about Walmart is they were using the advertisement to their employees in the same way, which is like, hey, you know you get paid every 2 weeks and that sucks? Imagine getting paid every day. But they're your employer. Like, the app is coming from Walmart to its, like, they could pay you every day if they wanted to. Like, they're the one paying. It's so odd to be like, don't get stuck with a stinky every 2 weeks pay. Use this, but had Daily Pay connected to the hours we worked. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy, bro. And then if it's from your employee, like Walmart did it because if their employees wanted to get paid every day, then they would take the fees. And so it ended up that Walmart was paying some of them sub-minimum wage after all the fees were applied. Like, because the total number of hours worked was the same, they were just paying them early and then charging fees. So they were paying them essentially less than they had to, like less than.
School turned over their payroll information to Daily Pay, and soon Lee could start withdrawing money from their paycheck whenever they wanted.
I have money in my account before payday, right? It's almost like endorphins.
Like Renita, Lee grew up watching their parents take out payday loans and saw how financially damaging that was.
But obviously, even with that, like, I fell for this. I didn't see it as a loan. You're not, like, signing stuff. You know, you're not sitting and reading through a loan agreement.
That's crazy.
It's just, like, it's instant, it's fast, and it seems cheap.
It seems cheap. A lot of people I spoke to said that exact thing, and I decided to find out if it was true. If we want to compare two loans to see which one will end up being cheaper, we can't just look at the simple interest rate. That won't give you the full picture. What you want to do is calculate each loan's APR, or annual percentage rate. I know, this equation looks scary, but don't worry, there are online calculators where you just plug in your numbers and they'll do this math for you. APR is like the price of a loan. It takes into account what you'll pay in interest and in fees and the number of days you have to repay. The more time you have to repay the loan, the lower the price of the loan. So let's say you need $100 now. If you took that as a payday loan, that would likely cost you $15 in fees, and it'd be due back in 2 weeks, 14 days. The APR would be 391%.
Sheesh!
That's expensive. Credit card cash advances usually top out around 36%. So what if you took that $100 out from Earnin instead? Well, Renita actually did that yesterday, and I asked her to calculate her APR. Her only fee was that small lightning transfer fee of $3.99. But she's going to get her paycheck tomorrow, and even if she needs the money for something else, Earnin will take back what she owes right away, so she only has 1 day to repay, which means her APR is
$1,456.35%. Insane. That's a lot. My mind is blown. Jesus Christ.
A study conducted by California regulators found that the average APR for companies like Earnin is 334%. But these calculations don't include all the random hidden charges these apps can have, like subscription fees.
I don't care how small the fee is. They're getting it right back the next day. That should be illegal.
Yes, quadruple-digit interest rates should be illegal, so why aren't they? Well, interest rates are regulated on a state-by-state basis. I'm currently in New York, where the APR on small loans is 25%. That effectively bans payday loans. Their business model just isn't as profitable without high fees and interest rates, so they don't operate here. But EWA companies do, because of an extremely dumb loophole. Lending laws technically only apply to loans.
These are not loans.
EWA's access to...
So we talk about this so much time on this stream, but just Wall Street every few years taking the same debt and finding a different way to name it is so funny. It's the same thing as BNPL, dude. It's the same thing. It's just a different way. We need to get on the action. We need to find another name for debt. We should call it I need a name for it. I need a name. I need like call it Happy Dollars. Call it Money Time Travel. That's perfect. Holy shit. Okay, it's called Money Time Travel. And what we do is we're not loaning your money. We're using proprietary technology to travel your money from the future through time now. Okay? So you get access to future bucks now, and you pay back regular bucks later. This is fucking good. MTT, Money Time Travel. Tomorrow's earnings today. Wait, I'm setting this up. This is fucking awesome. This is easy money. Invest in your future self. Oh my God. Wait, have your future self invest in the now. Say thank you to your future self. And it's like an ad of like a woman, and it's like herself but slightly older patting her on the back. I've got you. Don't worry, I've got you. Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit.
Earn wages, not a loan.
We are advancing money and getting paid back.
Right, guys. It's not a loan. You're just borrowing money and paying it back later. And now, how come you don't have to cap your interest rates?
There's no interest charged ever because these are not loans.
Okay, so let me get this straight. You're not a loan because you don't charge interest. And those fees and tips you charge are not interest because only loans have interest, and you're not a loan.
Right.
If you're starting to get dizzy, buckle up because there's more. EWA lobbyists use words like
choice,
dignity,
flexibility.
They're trying to convince lawmakers that they're providing an important service to working Americans. And they started doing this years ago, before most people had ever heard about earned wage access. That's allowed them to define the narrative by repeating the same 5 talking points.
Okay. Workers can only access their own money.
Their own money. It is absolutely not a loan.
Because our product is not a loan, no EWA provider charges interest.
There is no interest.
We do not charge any late fees or interest ever.
Wages you have already earned that are trapped in a batch payroll cycle.
The antiquated payroll system.
Arbitrary payday.
Arbitrary 2 or 4 week pay cycle.
Even if we were to assign an APR rating fee, like misleadingly high.
Emphasizing APRs is misleading for a non-loan product with no interest.
She's just reading off.
There's also no requirement to repay.
They have literally forever.
It's funny because they're all just reading the talking points off the fucking paper. They have forever to pay it back. No, they don't. It comes out of their next paycheck. That one's just a lie. I mean, I guess they're all lies in a way, but this is like one that comes out of their next paycheck.
To pay it back, right? So because it's their money, they're just borrowing against their future self. I shouldn't say borrowing; they're accessing wages against.
I shouldn't say borrowing, because that would make it sound like a loan. I shouldn't say borrow. I'm accessing wages. So fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. It's just a different word. We all know what's going on here. They're just accessing the future, dude. They're just time traveling. Well, I gotta get my talking points ready. Your Honor, they're not borrowing, and they're not accessing wages because they banned that in 2030. What they're doing is they're time traveling their money from what they've made in the future to themselves in the present. Okay? Your Honor, have you seen the movie Looper? With Joseph Gordon-Levitt? It's kind of like Looper, Your Honor. It's the way that time travel works is tough to explain, but
their future self.
Wait a minute. What did he just say?
They have literally.
Your Honor, do you like the movie Tenet?
Literally forever to pay it back, right? So because it's their money, they're just borrowing against their future self. I shouldn't say borrowing; they're accessing wages against their future self.
Oops. They can't even keep their own tangled knots straight.
I was getting lost in all the corporate doublespeak, so I got help from Andy Morrison. That's him testifying against EWA lobbyists in the New York State House.
These are essentially payday loans by another name.
Andy debunked every talking point. First up, that there's no interest.
It's not true. The average effective interest rate on EWA loans is over 330% APR.
It's like, you don't even need to go into the details of it. It's just, why would this business exist? They make a profit. Where's the profit coming from? Just look, why, they're not doing this at the good of their hearts, okay? They're not doing this at the good of their hearts. So where's it making a profit? The idea that we have to fucking rigorously debunk it is just crazy. Why are 10 different apps popping up to give you your money early? Because they can take money from you. So it is.
Are fees the same thing as interest?
Yes. When the cost of a loan is calculated, it's inclusive of fees. And in this case, it should be inclusive of the tips.
What about their claim that you never have to pay it back?
They have access to your bank account. They're getting paid virtually every single time.
And those antiquated payroll systems.
There's nothing inherently broken about a 2-week pay cycle. What's broken is that wages are too low and the cost of living is too high for millions of workers.
Is APR really misleading for these short-term loans?
It's just the standard of measurement for loans everywhere.
Andy said EWA companies claim annual percentage rates are misleading because their loans don't last for a whole year.
That's like saying that you didn't violate the speed limit in miles per hour because you didn't drive for an hour. You were only driving for 2 minutes.
And finally, altogether now.
I did say that to a judge just the other day when I drove 120 in a school zone. Because I had places to fucking be. I had an idea about time traveling money, actually. I had to get to the bank right quick. And it worked, okay? I hit barely any kids. And MKBHD was in the passenger seat, actually. He was like, he was warning me against it. He had some bad experiences.
Oh, is it really your own money?
What they're doing is lending. They're offering a worker money against their future earnings. The worker has to pay that back. It's a loan.
Just in the past few years, these apps have drained at least $500 million in fees and tips from working Americans, and that's just in New York. This should piss off lawmakers, and yet...
A lot of lawmakers kind of fall for it hook, line, and sinker.
Earned wage access, in my opinion, does not qualify as a loan.
I think it is an amazing concept.
You're not loaning me.
What is amazing about it?
Mine, I earned it.
I do think that this is a real solution for our constituents.
What is the solution? It's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. I mean, I assume all these people are bought by lobbyists, is my assumption. But I'm worried that some of them are actually dumb enough to hear it and be like, no, I can't tell. Some of them could be just actually dumb. And that's scarier to me. That you can't figure out that this is a loan. That's crazy.
Once they win over enough lawmakers, fintech lobbyists get one of them to introduce a regulatory law. During the hearing, they're like, hey, we're not predatory. Look, we want to be regulated.
I crisscross the country generally supporting legislation.
Meanwhile, the legislation was written by fucking ALEC, the guys that are secretly behind tons of conservative state laws, like Stand Your Ground and bills that weaken labor unions and restrictive voter ID laws. They're basically a fill-in-the-blank bill.
I'm sorry, but if you're gonna curse, then I'm taking my money and going elsewhere. Okay? I thought we were trying to here to learn. And if you're gonna hear and you're gonna say that vile word to our ear, we don't curse on this stream. Okay? Tell you what, I've never seen an earned wage access app curse. That friendly bear from Dave Bank, he didn't curse. Yeah, I wonder who's on the wrong side of history here.
Factory for pro-corporate lawmakers. That's how the same EWA bill ended up on state house floors across the country. It gives legal blessing to the way these companies already operate and ensures they won't have to cap fees or disclose APRs or be subject to other lending rules.
And it becomes extremely difficult to remove them once they become entrenched.
And once people start using these apps to help pay the bills, they quickly become dependent on them. The average EWA user takes out 36 advances a year. The average payday loan consumer takes out 8. As I talked to Runita about each of her recent earn-in advances, I started to see how that happens.
The first time Runita used earn-in, it was a couple years ago after her son was born. She had just switched to this remote job, which was a pay cut, but it let her stay home and care for her son at the time. And then after she went back to her normal job, she actually stopped using earn-in for nearly 2 years. She got on a stable financial footing. She even bought this house.
Okay.
But housing costs are expensive.
Yeah.
And for a bunch of complicated reasons, her child support payment is less this year than it was before. And that put Runita in this really precarious position where if one thing went wrong, it would completely throw her off financially. And about 2 weeks ago, that's exactly what happened.
My son wakes up really early sometimes, and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I went to try to like open an app on my phone, and it wasn't loading, and I was like, did they turn my internet off? And I checked the router, and it said your service has been interrupted for non-payment, and I'm like, what the heck are you talking about?
The bill used to be on auto pay, but for some reason wasn't anymore.
They told me I had to pay like over $200. I had like $50 in my bank account. That was the first domino, and everything else just kind of fell apart from there.
Runita borrowed $150 from Earnin to pay the internet bill, the $20 reconnection fee, and the $6 Earnin fee.
I had to like go to the McDonald's and use their Wi-Fi.
That setback meant Runita had to borrow again just 3 days later for gas, and 4 days after that for a utility bill, which meant her next paycheck was smaller, which meant she ended up borrowing again 3 more times over the next week, leading to another small paycheck, which led to more borrowing and another small paycheck, until she was trapped in a debt cycle. By comparison, the previous month, Runita only borrowed 1 time.
You don't have room to breathe. It's like you can't breathe. Every dollar is like accounted for. Like it leaves no room for errors.
Fintech's colorful, emoji-filled version of payday loans is just the latest in a long tradition of predatory lending. I mean, loan sharks have existed since ancient Mesopotamia, but
there are prohibitions on usury in practically every religion.
If they've innovated anything, it's that they've made it way too easy to get into debt.
When you go to the payday loan, you're kind of watching your backs. Who's seeing me walk into this building? But the cash advance apps, it's private. There's this huge social stigma against people who are poor. Everyone I know is in debt, but we have to pretend like we're not. And there's a lot of shame wrapped up in that.
In our society, people are made to feel that if they're struggling financially, it's their own fault, when in fact, we have a financial system and an economy that is designed to extract money from people. And I think the EWA industry really exemplifies that.
Now, at this point in a video about consumer exploitation, I would normally give a shout out to Lina Khan over at the FTC for going after EWA companies.
Go!
And I'd also mention that last year, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau issued a statement that earned wage access is a loan and should be regulated as such. But Elon Musk is on a mission to delete the CFPB, and the Trump administration has already started trying to make that happen.
Is this old? Elon's out of government. When did this air? Oh, just a few days ago. Interesting.
By closing down the headquarters and telling staffers not to do any work tasks. And Lina Khan is out too. Her replacement, Andrew Ferguson, is taking the FTC in a different direction.
The previous administration, they were all about rules, rules, rules. That's not what we're about in the Trump administration.
Those anti-regulation vibes are already playing out in the states. 12 states have laws on the books regulating EWA, but only 2 of those say that paycheck advances are loans. The other 10 are EWA-friendly ALEC legislation. And if you live in one of these 18 states with EWA legislation pending, make sure your state's bill isn't the ALEC one. EWA lobbyists are trying to make it seem normal that if we're broke, we should be taking out dozens of small loans a year to get by, which, as I've shown, just makes things worse.
The solution to thirst isn't lead-contaminated water.
So, what are the solutions for people struggling to get by? Well, one could be community-driven credit unions, which can offer people fair loans at reasonable rates. Or, to dream even bigger, what if people didn't need to turn to debt in the first place? That's one of the reasons advocates like Andy support public banks. They're run by the state, and therefore they're accountable to us instead of private shareholders. And since they don't exist to turn a profit, they can invest our taxes into things that would help our communities, like building affordable housing.
It's part of the recipe for how we create an economy that works for people, that doesn't exist to extract profits, but actually exists to build wealth and root wealth in local neighborhoods so that people can thrive.
But instead of talking about any of that, we're stuck debating the definition of a loan and whether biweekly pay is good or not. That is why EWA is so dangerous, even if you don't use it. And even worse, by normalizing debt as a way to deal with low wages, they're reducing the pressure that would naturally build on employers to pay people more, thus keeping our wages low. Because the obvious solution here is literally just paying people more. That's what finally helped Lee and Renita break out of their debt cycles. Lee when they got a better paying job, and Renita when she got a raise at her current job.
One day I would just love
And then also, I mean, like, you know, one big thing, and this is part of what Lina Khan was doing with other things like Ticketmaster and everything. It's like, one thing that particularly annoys me about things like this is the way they try to hide how they're charging you. Like, to me, it's so important that anything remotely like a loan is upfront and clear about what it is and then what the APR is. Like, if you can just compare and contrast all the different stuff, but when it's hidden, when it's fees, when you think you're buying a ticket for $100 and then actually it's fucking $180 because of all that stuff's annoying because it requires you to constantly be on your guard. Like, they're making value off of tricking you or trying to catch you when you're not looking or you're not making a choice. I find that to be very frustrating. It's an optional tip. The tip is one part that's optional. Getting it now is $6.99, and then because the tip was only 40% of their revenue. Milk makers on the shirt. She got drip. tip your employer when they pay you? I mean, you should do that. That's just a good habit.
Like, not have to think about it. Like, I don't have to be filthy rich. I just don't want to have to think about what's in my bank account every day. That'd be nice. Because all I care about is making his life better.
Thank you for watching the...
I mean, good video. Good video. Good video. These EWA apps are insane. I'm so excited personally to see the other names they come up with that over the next 30 years of the earth before it all ends. Mr. Beast bucks? That would be sick. If you could borrow money from Mr. Beast. It's like a little game on your phone. It's like borrow Mr. Beast's money. And you get Beast bucks from the Beast Bank. Okay? How does he charge you, though? How does he charge you? I don't... There's a way you got to work on it. Oh, maybe it's like, yeah, you borrow it, but then you have to either tip or you have to watch a certain number of Mr. Beast videos all the way through. And if you fall enough behind on your debt, you have to be in one of his videos and he gets to do whatever he wants. Okay? Chat, I'm going to wrap here. I'm going to wrap. I'm going to do a quick wrap. So give me a beat. I'm going to wrap here. Thank you for watching. Get Smarter Saturdays. I should be live tomorrow as well. I think I'm going to play the game of the choosing your seat game. So I think I will be live tomorrow. That's correct. But trying to finish some stuff for Monday so I can get things done before Silk Song, which literally is next week. We are so close to Silk Song. I'm preparing. I got a little trailer for the 4th. I'm very excited, and we're gonna go big. I'll probably have to go live pretty early on the 4th because I want to play it all day. I don't want to do 3 hours. I want to do like at least six or 7, maybe more. And then I'm gonna play it pretty much every day after that. All right, thanks for watching. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.